Evening all. Live chat number 81 here on Brooksy's Bass Corner. Hope you're safe and well wherever you are on the planet. Hope your bass playing's going great. Very welcome. We're talking bass as we do every Tuesday, 8 o'clock here in London, in the UK. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the globe. Hope you're all well. So this is our regular live chat that we do here on Brooksy's Bass Corner, talking bass guitars, effects, amplifiers, accessories, strings, gig bags, anything about bass. You want to talk about it, come on here. The best bass live chat on YouTube. I can't find any others, certainly not that are regular. And if you've got any questions or you're looking for some advice, maybe your gear's not working, maybe you've got a huge audition coming up, maybe you're building your first pedal board, maybe you're trying to fix your bass and something's just not working. If I can help, I'm more than happy to do so. If I can give you some advice, more than happy to do so. If I don't know the answers, one of the fine people here on Brooksy's Bass Corner probably will do. So come on in. Let us know if you've got any problems. It might be an effect pedal's not working, or you've broken a pot on your amp, or just can't work out how to restring your bass. Come and ask us. If we can help, we will. So it's 8 o'clock Tuesday evening, coming to you all the way from London town here in the UK. Hope you've had a good week. I've had a reasonable week. Had a gig with Queen Tribute at the weekend. Did a gentleman's 50th birthday who just so happened to work for McLaren Racing Cars. So you don't get to do those sort of gigs very often. He arrived at his own due in a helicopter. It was that sort of shebang. We had a great night. Highly unlikely that anyone at that party is watching this live chat, but if you did, I hope you had a good time. We certainly did. Didn't enjoy the rain at the end of the night, but hey ho, you can't have it all, can you? But the gig was great. We had an absolute blast. This week got Uncle Funk up in Bourne, up in Lincolnshire, at Bourne Corn Exchange on Saturday evening. So if you live in the vicinity or surrounding districts, if you want to come and enjoy some disco classics with us, I'll be up in Bourne on Saturday. Let's think what else has happened since last week. So we've had the Flattley Bass Ace Tone Boost pedal straight out of the box, the pedal series that went up on Friday. Did a couple of shorts over the weekend as well. So new material there. If you've missed those videos, by all means, check them out. I'll put a link for you here directly into the live chat. So if you want to check it out, you can. Let's put that in there. Oh, don't want that on my screen. Right, there we go. That's the fella. So if you've missed that video, that went up on Friday. Actually, I tell a lie. It was Saturday morning, UK time. It went up Friday evening in the US. Gareth Harrison, good to see you. Thank you for your message earlier on. Young Gareth found a very nice Washburn Status being sold in Windsor, which isn't very far from where I am here in West London. And it was going for a reasonable price, I have to say, considering how some of the overinflated prices for a Washburn Status have just been going up and up and up and up over recent months. Now, if I were in a buying mood, I would have got in the car and gone and bought this bass. But A, I've got more than enough to cope with here. B, I've got so much going on in life at the moment that another bass purchase probably isn't the wisest move. And also someone else can get that bass. It was a very good price, I have to say. So let someone else enjoy that one. I've got the real thing here. I'd be buying the bass purely to do stuff here on YouTube, which is fine. I've done that before, but I've got enough to wade through already. I bought a couple of basses over the past 18 months that you guys, the regulars, will know I've bought for YouTube content. So a couple of Ibanez's, got the Lakeland, we did the Harley Benton Marquis, some Ibanez basses, and yeah, so we got more than enough to be going on with. So if you end up being the lucky owner of the Washburn Status that's for sale in Windsor on Facebook Marketplace, and the price is really good, maybe one of you fine people might be interested. You want to go and check it out? Check it out. The price is what they should be, in my view, and what they were up until probably about a year and a half ago. They kind of started to go up in price once Rob Green at Status announced his semi-retirement. So I'm not quite sure why the price has spiked all of a sudden. I think what it is a lot of people who don't know the history of Washburn Status basses naturally assume, because Status is in the name and it's got a Status bridge and tailpiece, headless, obviously. There's a Status circuit and pickups in it. They assume it's a Status. It's not. It's a wooden bass with a phenolic fingerboard made by Washburn. Status literally provided the pickup circuit and the hardware. That's it. It's not a proper Status. So if I was to compare one with my Status 2000, my Empathies, my Matrix, my Streamline, or my T-Bass, you would hear the difference. But anyway, Gareth, thank you for that heads up. Very much appreciated. And as I said, if you come across any decently priced Stati, let me know. So good to see you. Visog, good to see you. Steffi from Germany. Hope those bass lessons are going great. Hope you're safe and well. So that's kind of been it. Otherwise, it's life at the moment. I've got my mother-in-law's ill, dealing with the dogs, trying to keep house ticking over while my partner's dealing with her mum, of course. Just 1,000,001 jobs all going on all at once, and gigs, and trying to keep the new Uncle Funk theatre show in my head and giving that a run through, and dealing with my dodgy knee. It's all going on, you know. It's just life taking over at the moment, but I'm trying to keep the content going. So there'll be another video up tomorrow, which will be the other Flattley pedal that I've got, which is the Poison out. Teeth on in today. Right, go again. The Flattley Poison Ivy Bass Fuzz. Try saying that really quick. You'll realize the trouble I've got. So there'll be a straight out the box video for that tomorrow. I think tomorrow it's pretty much, it's all done. I've just got to sort of dot the I's, cross the T's, get it all up on YouTube, get it promoted. That can fly out the door. Then we've got the Wilcock H22. That's ready to go. Couple of Bass Center, Neil Murray Snakebite demos. They're going first before the review. Got a couple of other basses, some things that have been here for a while that I did review videos of back in the early days of the channel. So the Status Trace Elliott T-Bass, that's got to have a demo video. It's got a review video, but I can do a more recent demo, new sound card audio interface. My two Stingrays need demo videos. They have review videos, but again, the way I do demos has moved along considerably compared to when I did the original review video. So they'll be getting done. The Warwick Bootsy Collins bass, that needs a demo and review video. And then there's pedals and other basses and. So there's loads of content coming. I realize this light is really bright. I don't know why. It's no different to how it normally is. I know I moved it the other day for a bit of filming, so let's just take some of that glare off if I can. I was trying to do it before we came on camera and it ended up being too dark. And that's no use to man or beast. Is that better? That's better, isn't it? I look less like I've got a halo going on, but there we are. So, yeah, so good to see you. Welcome along. So if you're first time here on the live chat, come on in. This is where we talk bass guitars, all of that sort of thing. You got any issues with your bass? Looking for some advice? Maybe you're looking to buy something. Maybe Christmas coming, looking for a new bass, new pedal. Just want some pointers? Allow me to help you. That's what I'm here for, if I can be of service. So if you're first time on the live chat, this is the video window. If you're on the mobile app, live chat text box is directly below. If you're on the desktop version, it's that way. Put your pointer in the comment box at the bottom, type your comment or question, press send. It appears here in my comments feed in the live chat. If you want to come onto the live chat and you don't want to be typing and you want to get involved, you can come onto the screen by video. We can have up to 8 of us chatting at once. I'm fine with one-to-ones. If we want to have a group chat about something, we can. In order to come onto here by video, as you see on the bottom of the screen at the moment, there's a ticker. Send me an email, brooksysbasscorner@gmail.com. I will then send you an invite to join the live chat. Then you can come on screen. We can talk bass, whatever you want to talk about, maybe great players, gear. As I say, if you've got your first audition coming up, or trying to build a pedal board, or trying to change pickups, or you want some advice on some gear, if I can help, that's what we're here for. Underneath the video window, you've got an array of icons there. You've got a thumbs up and a thumbs down. Please give the video a thumbs up. It's really important. Okay. Keep stressing this every week. We get loads of viewers on the live chats, but the number of likes simply does not correspond to the amount of viewers we get. So whether you're watching this after the event or you're watching it during the live chat, please give the video a thumbs up. It helps to fire the video into the algorithm, which then means that video gets presented to more and more bass players around the world. Then the video builds traction, then the algorithm does its thing, and then the live chat video can take off. We had one about 6 or 7 weeks ago that amassed something like 1,500 views. Now, as far as I can tell, there was nothing in that video, nothing in the back end detail that I did in YouTube, nothing to do with the thumbnail or the title or anything that I can really pick out that differentiated it from any of the other live chats. Yet for some reason, it flew. And I've been watching it for 7 weeks, and that video is racking up views every day. I don't know why, but all I can put it down to is likes, comments, and shares, and view time, of course. So if you're enjoying the video, if you enjoy any of the videos here on the channel, if you enjoy what we do on a weekly basis, then please give the live chats a thumbs up. Please leave a comment, even if it's you think, oh, I don't want to embarrass myself. Just leave a comment, say you enjoyed the video. It really helps. I can't stress it enough. This is also why I've stopped asking people to subscribe to the channel. I think it's a vanity metric. It doesn't really have a huge amount of relevance to what I'm doing here on the channel, but likes on videos, comments, and sharing the video out to social media or to via email or via websites, that's the big thing. View time as well. So if you watch the whole video, thank you. Really, no, I really appreciate that. But the thumbs ups are the big thing. If you don't enjoy the video and you're going to give it a thumbs down, please leave a comment. I can't make the videos better if I don't know what people don't like. Once I know what people don't like, I can change it. I can make things better. I can alter the way we do things on the channel. Next to that, next to the thumbs up and the thumbs down, you'll see a share button. As I said, if you can share the video out to social media, fabulous. Please do so. You'll find a save button, so you can save videos for watching at a later date. You'll then see a love heart with a dollar symbol in. That's called Super Thanks. That exists on every single video here on Brooksy's Bass Corner. We're a monetized channel. So if you want to help to keep the channel going, help to provide the StreamYard subscription, we're doing the live chats through StreamYard now, which allows me to do the video live chat. We can do the banners and the graphics, and I can show you images and videos and all of that sort of thing. I'm paying for that. That's not a freebie service. So if you want to help the channel with things like that, you can make a donation to the channel. You don't have to. Watching the videos is free. I'm not going to beg you to donate to the channel. That's not what it's about. But if you enjoy any of the videos, enjoy any of the content, if I offer up some advice and you think, oh, that's really handy, I needed to know that, you can help the channel by hitting that super thanks button. You can also do it on the live chats. At the bottom of the live chat window, next to the comment box, you'll see an emoji icon. Please feel free to add emojis as you wish in the live chat. It really helps the video. And next to that, you'll find the super chat facility, which is exactly the same as super thanks, but it's based around it being a live chat. So if you enjoy the live chat, enjoy the videos, enjoy the channel, please feel free to hit the super chat button. Make a donation to the channel. You don't have to, though, but small donations are fine. Big donations are fine. However you wish to do it. If you want to help me, help the channel, fabulous. Very much appreciated. Underneath the icons, underneath the video, you'll find the description box. In there, you'll find a description of what the video is about. So tonight's live chat, obviously. From tomorrow, you'll find timestamps about everything that we talk about tonight. So if you're watching the video after the event, you can click on the timestamps in the description box and jump to the section you want to jump to, or using the timeline along the bottom of the video, you'll see there are loads of little notches. They correspond with the timestamps. So you can click into the timeline and jump to the bit you want to go to. After the timestamps, you'll find affiliate links for, let's get this right, vidIQ, Top Cashback, StreamYard. If you've got bass related purchases, there are affiliate links for the Bass Centre here in the UK. Evening, Barry. Evening, Jill. Evening, Dave. Hope everything's good. I will get the Neil Murray basses back to you very soon. There are affiliate links also for Amazon worldwide, Thomann in Germany, Gear for Music, and Andertons here in the UK. So you've got any bass related purchases, you can help the channel by using one of those retailers. Buy your item. We receive a very small, and I do mean small, affiliate commission, but all those small commissions build up into a bigger thing. Again, it helps the channel survive, helps to keep us going. After the affiliate links, you'll find Brooksy's Bass Corner merchandise. I'm not wearing merch tonight. I have a very fetching 1992 Extreme Tour t-shirt on from the Three Sides to Every Story tour. I can't really get, if I have to move the camera, all the angles go daft. So anyway, yeah, proper tour t-shirt. Back in the old days, you used to get all of this on the back as well. So yeah, if you want to help the channel, buy merchandise is fabulous. You get something for your donation. There's t-shirts, hats, caps, beanie hats, hoodies, sweatshirts, leisure wear, phone cases, mouse mats, all of that. We've got mugs, we've got the glasses, Brooksy's Bass Corner mug. This has been here since I first started doing merchandise about 20 months ago. This has probably done somewhere in the region of about 250 dishwasher runs. That image is still as bright as the day it arrived. So the gear is good, I promise you. The t-shirts are fab, keep their shape really well, iron really nicely, according to my other half. So if you're looking to help the channel, Brooksy's Bass Corner merch is fabulous. After that, in the description box, you'll find the social media links. You'll find some Facebook, Instagram, Twitter X, Be Real, Reddit, Quora, Discord, and TikTok. Hello to the gentleman from France who loved my Warwick Bootsy Collins video that's on TikTok. No, the bass isn't for sale at the moment. It will be one day when I'm not doing Uncle Funk anymore. But for the time being, it's staying in my private collection. As and when it's up for sale, I'll let you know. You'll be the first to be told. Don't worry about that. And that's the description box. After that, you'll find the comments section. So please leave comments for the video. And there we are. There we are. Dawson from Canada. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're well. Ella, I don't think you've been here before. I play bass. I play bass in a Queen cover band. Hello, Ella. I play in several Queen tributes. So good. Hope you're enjoying that. Where are you playing? What sort of venues are you doing? You're new to the channel. I don't recognize your name, so you're very welcome. Come on in. Tell us what you want to do bass-wise, what you're doing, what gear you've got. Any problems, give us a shout and let us know. If I don't know the answer, chances are one of the fine people here on Brooksy's Bass Corner live chats will do. So I'll throw a question straight to you, Ella. What's your favorite Queen song to play? I get that one almost fortnightly. And it can change. It can change. Some weeks it will be one song, another week it will be something else. But yes, very happy to talk Queen cover bands if you wish. That's all good. So, as I say, we're talking bass guitars, amps, effects, accessories, anything to do with bass. You want to talk about great bass players? Maybe you want to talk about the fabulous, legendary John Deacon. You want to talk about albums that great bass players are on. You want to talk about bands that had great bass players. Feel free. That's what we're doing. If you want to come in onto the live chat by video, you can do so. Email me, brooksysbasscorner@gmail.com. I will send you an invite. You click on the invite and you come through here on the screen. We can have up to 8 of us on a live chat by video. So if you want to do that, we have that facility. So tonight's topic for discussion, very relevant based on Ella's chat there. So who inspired you to become a bass player? Who is the bass player that made you think bottom ends for me? 4 strings. It's the way to go. I can answer that very easily. For me, it was John Taylor of Duran Duran. I was a huge Duran Duran fan, huge Queen fan as I was growing up through the late 70s. Duran Duran came on the scene in 81. It caught my ear. I was already a big Chic fan, big disco fan, Earth, Wind and Fire. Anything bass was grabbing my ear. And Duran Duran, their first album, the first couple of singles off that album, I was like, "Wow, okay, right, I need to keep an eye on them." But Adam and the Ants were my thing at the time, which was more a visual thing, and the material. I mean, now when I listen back to Adam and the Ants, some of it's like, did I really like that? But I did at the time. It was I was an impressionable 8 and 9-year-old, and then Duran Duran came along, and I was already big on Queen. And then the following year, Adam and the Ants kind of died a death a bit. Adam Ant went solo. Rio came out. I heard Hungry Like the Wolf the first time it was played on Radio 1, just before I was going to school. And I recorded it back in those days. And people of my vintage will know you used to press play and record on your tape recorder that was connected to the radio, and you recorded it. Hungry Like the Wolf sealed the deal for me. That was it. I was like, hook, line, and sinker. Duran Duran are my band along with Queen. That's where we're going. So John Taylor was, for me, that was like an eye-opener. That was all the elements of Chic and other stuff, and Nick's keyboards and Andy Taylor's guitar playing and the whole package. I was like, right, okay, bass is fairly important here. And then the Reflex video was what made me think, right, that's it. I want to be a musician. No questions asked. I don't want to be anything else. But as a 12-year-old, you know, your teachers at school wouldn't believe you. I want to be a rock star. I want to be a pop star. I want to play music. That's what I want to do. Oh, you need an education behind you. And I wanted to be a singer. So I sang a bit at school badly. And then male physiology meant the old voice went, ooh. So I was up here with the larks, and so hey, oh, right, okay, that's where we're going. And then I thought I'd be a drummer. This is a conversation I've reiterated many times on the live chat. So went from wanting to be a singer to then wanting to be a drummer, knowing that my friend Jamie Fisher at school was way in ahead, like already out doing it, my age, and just seriously on it. But there were no bass players, or very few. And one of the teachers at school, at my secondary school, posted up an advert on the music room notice board saying, who would like bass guitar lessons on Wednesday lunchtimes? And I was like, that got me thinking. So I was like, okay, right. Well, you've got this fantasy for being John Taylor. Now you're going to find out. So I went off and did my first bass lessons, and that was it. And as I said a couple of weeks ago, went home from school that day in a complete blur and a daze, and got home and told my mum, found what I'm doing for the rest of my life. I'm going to be a bass player. And here we are 37 years later, and I'm doing it. I've been doing it since I graduated from university in 1995. This has been my job. Had a few little part-time jobs in between just to keep the money ticking over to pay the mortgage. But other than that, I've been a full-time professional bass player ever since. So here we are. So John Taylor was my thing. But growing up through the 80s, I mean, I had all the stuff that I'd heard in the 70s, all the disco stuff, all the glam rock stuff, because you couldn't not hear it on the radio. And my mum always had the radio on, and I was privy to anything that was in the charts and classic songs that had always been around, and your ear picks up on all that. And for me, you know, in the 80s, you know, Mark King was coming along doing great things, and John Taylor, obviously, John Deacon, been in my life since I knew what music was. And you had all these other great bass players through the 80s. So it was a very rich kind of feeding ground, if you like. There was a lot of stuff to pick up on, but John Taylor was my main influence. And as soon as I picked up a bass and I was able to take the school bass home at weekends, I started learning Duran Duran songs and Queen songs, and Level 42 stuff was a little beyond me at that point. It took me probably about 8 months before I started trying to work out Level 42 songs, but Duran Duran stuff I could get under my fingers, Queen stuff as well. And that was it. And you know, here we are this far along, and I still love John Taylor's playing. I put crikey, what was I listening to the other day? Wedding album from '93. There's some great playing on there. But he never, you know, after Rio, Seven Ragged Tiger, Notorious was quite stripped back in his bass playing, although there are some great bass lines on that album. But he never rediscovered the flair and the panache that he had on Rio and Seven Ragged Tiger. But the band's sound changed, and he will always say, you know, I really went to town on Rio. It was like a blank canvas, and I was going to fill it up. And Lord knows he did. But that's kind of where I was coming from. But if I listed out all the bass players that have been major influences on me, I mean, we'd be here till like the middle of next week. Some of them now I call friends. Some are acquaintances who I've interviewed. One guy who's probably completely off most people's radar, a guy called Derek Taylor, was the bass player for Roachford, a UK soul funk rock artist in the 80s and 90s. Still going, Andrew. I've met him a couple of times. I met Derek once, and he then provided me with some musician numbers back in the late 90s when I needed them. Lo and behold, in recent years, we've chatted occasionally on Facebook. And then a couple of years ago, he found me on WhatsApp and started chatting to me on there. He wanted some advice about some gear. He was doing a Bob Marley theatre show in the centre of London, and he wanted some advice about some Aguilar amplification. And but Derek was such a huge influence on my playing. Oh my God. That first Roachford album, although I don't think he's actually playing on the first album, but he did all the live shows and the subsequent albums and tours. But Derek, what a monster player. If you've never heard Roachford, please go and find them on Spotify, YouTube, what have you. You'll know some of the songs. Some of their big hits were very radio friendly, but Derek Taylor's monster player. Real tasteful lines and playing. If you can find it on you, in fact, I'm going to do it for you. Okay. There's no point me saying, if you go on YouTube and find blah, 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 I'll just find it for you and send you the link. So this is a show from Roachford's UK tour after the first album had come out. So this was a tour from 1989. And they were playing in Scotland, I think in Inverness. And there was a place called, the series was called East of Eden on BBC Two in the UK. And it was a venue up in Inverness. And this show, I remember watching it, waiting for it to be on, and I recorded it off the telly. And it blew my mind. I must have nearly worn out my copy of this on VHS, because I used to watch it over and over and over again. I would literally copy Derek's bass playing note for note. I can't seem to find it. 1989. Maybe it's been taken down due to copyright. BBC copyright, maybe. Okay. Right, let's take that bit out of the search and see if that... It used to be on here. Ah, here we go. Right. Oh, and the whole thing's there. Excellent. Right. Anyone that liked Roachford or even clue what I'm talking about, this gig is just great. Sadly for Derek, his bass drops out halfway through the first song a bit. He's using a Warwick thumb, and the bass, whether it's the recording by the BBC or it actually did drop out, or there was a problem with the amp, I don't know. And he moves over to his Stingray, and I have to say, his blue Stingray inspired me to buy a Stingray a number of years later. but it's well worth a watch. It's only 40 minutes long, so it's a sort of truncated show. But if you're watching this on catch up, just come off my live chat and go and watch this because it's great. So yeah, let me know who inspired you to become a bass player. That's tonight's topic. Gareth Harrison, good to see you, my man. Growing up in the 90s, bassists like Damon Minchella, yeah, Ocean Colour Scene, Mick Quinn, Supergrass, loved Supergrass. I have a bee in my bonnet with Supergrass. So I went to see them in 1999. They had a huge reputation for being great live. And the third album came out that had Move In and Pumping on Your Stereo. Went to see them at the Forum in Kentish Town, the old Town and Country Club. They were phenomenal. Amazing show. Amazing show. I remember coming away from that and just being absolutely hooked on Supergrass for a while. And I went to see probably 4 or 5 shows after that between 2000 and 2004, I think. As each time they played London, my partner and I would go and see them. We saw them at Wembley Arena, saw them at Shepherd's Bush, saw them in Aylesbury, a couple of other places in London. They were never as good as that 1999 show. I always got the impression, and you'd see them do Glastonbury and shows on the BBC, and they'd be really good. And you go and see them live, and it always struck me after that 99 show, they were never as good. It was always seemed to me like they were just going through the motions, like they could not be asked. And the banter and the sort of talking to the audience disappeared after that show in 99. They were just miserable on stage. And it always seemed to me like they were probably going to split up after the gig that I was watching. I was just like, I'm fed up of paying money for tickets. And this lot just aren't trying. It's like, so I stopped going to see them. Saw them at on Glastonbury last year, I think, or 22 on BBC. And they were back to being really great again. And they're doing a 30th anniversary tour next year. My partner's going to see them. I think I've decided not to go because it clashes with a gig I'm doing. But yeah, Mick Quinn of Supergrass, what a player. What a bass player in a 3-piece band. You know, just doing the business like Sting used to do in The Police, like Jack Bruce used to do in Cream. 3-piece band. And my old covers band was a 3-piece band. You can seriously lay down some groundwork in a 3-piece band. If you're a bass player in a 3-piece and you don't do it well, it becomes very obvious. But Mick Quinn, blinding player. Not that Mick's ever going to see this, but mate, a big admirer of your bass playing. Bruce Foxton of the Jam, mate. Gareth, you're picking out top quality bass players there. I can't argue with any of those. Steffi, Neil was and still is my inspiration. Very good. Very good. She's referring to Neil Fairclough, touring bass player with Queen and Adam Lambert, of course. Gareth Harrison, I've got tickets to see Supergrass next year, but there you go. You've beat me to that one, haven't you? So, yeah. Very good. Let me know. Who is your bass playing inspiration that got you playing? Let's know. It's 25 to 9. We've been on air 35 minutes. Hope you're all good. I'm just opening a can of fizzy pop. Stick it in my Brooksy's Bass Corner mug, of course. Got a problem with the ring pull. There we go. Let's got that sorted. So, anyone bought anything new? Any new gear purchases going on? Anyone bought any of the new Sire Music Man Stingray copies? Rampage video channel. Hey, how you doing? I think that's Dawson. Let's just check. There's no email there. Have you gone into the spam? Maybe. No. Inbox. There we go. Dawson's coming your way, sir. Let me get the invite for you. Diddly dee dee. There we go. I will send that off to you. Here we go. Better stick the headphones on in preparation for Dawson. Here we go. Very good. Anyone else would like to come on to the live chat by video? You are more than welcome. I realise the volume's absolutely poleaxe. Is that better? That's better. I had to turn it up the other day for when I was doing the pedal video. Gareth, I'm eyeing up a used Aria SB600. Well, you won't go far wrong with that. That's for sure. Color? What color are we going for? Is it Paduke red? Is it an oak brown? It's like the one I've got here. SB1000 for me. Of course, goes without saying, really, doesn't it? So there's that old girl. Playing great, sounding great, fabulous bass. Very pleased I bought it when I did. It took me a while to get round to it, but I got there eventually. So if there's any of the basses you want to talk about, if you're regular here on the live chats, anything you want to talk about, look for some advice, maybe you've eyed something, thinking of buying, feel free. Happy to get them out of the rack. I've decided not to do live bass performances through the audio interface because the sound reproduction is just, it's no use. For whatever reason, when we do live chats, if I do it through an amplifier, it gets all squashed and cut, and it can't deal with transients. Different when you're recording live for a video, it seems to work perfectly great, but you try and do it on the live chat, it just doesn't convey that great. Gareth, red one, excellent. Solid red or see-through red? Translucent. You have a West Tone Thunder in that color. Excellent. A man of good taste in your bass choices, I would suggest. So Gareth and I were talking obviously about this Washburn status earlier, and people in the UK may well have seen, I can talk about it, I don't know the guy personally, but there's a guy selling status stealth on various bass forums at the moment, and I think on Facebook as well. And the poor guy, I don't know if he's aware, but you know, those of us who are status fans, we see everything that goes up for sale on the eBay and Facebook Marketplace and Bass Chat and we see all those basses and we see the prices they get quoted for selling. And this poor guy is trying to sell this bass, and it was up at 3,250, I think he wanted for it. But what he seems to be very blissfully unaware of is the fact that those of us who are status fans, and I count myself amongst that group, that bass went up for sale on eBay around about March last year and sold for the price the guy put it up for, which I think was about 1,900 quid. It didn't get what he thought he was going to get. He got 1,900 quid, and Bass Brothers bought it. I bid on it, but I wasn't prepared to go over £2,000 because it had some dings and some buckle rash and stuff, and I wasn't. Dawson, I can see you. I'm going to add you to the stage. I'm not going to turn your mic on yet, so just hold on. I'm going to get this story out first. Yeah, it sold for 1,900, went to Bass Brothers, and all Bass Brothers did was wipe a cloth over it, put some strings on it, and sold it to this guy. I think it went for something like about 2,600 quid or 2,650, which I thought was a bit of a markup, but that's what some of the retailers do. They find cheap pickings, keep hold of them for a week or two, put them back online, sell them for more. That's the nature of retail. That's fine. I have no problem with that. This guy bought it for 2,600 or 2,650 or whatever it was, has kept it in the case, has barely played it. It's still got the same damage it had, but thought he could charge 3,250 for it. And it's like, just because you've owned it, you can't put that markup on it, mate. It's, you aren't a bass celebrity. No one is going to buy it because it was in your cupboard. So he's now to start dropping the price, and I think he's going to have to drop it considerably more if he thinks he's going to sell it, because those of us that would want to buy it as a status fan, we know what it sold for in the first place. just because it's been in your cupboard for a year doesn't mean you can put nearly $1,000 on the price. It doesn't work like that. I mean, daft. It's such a specialist kind of bass. You know, the people that would want to buy it know exactly what it's worth and what it went for. Anyway, on that note, let's bring Dawson into the game, shall we? Right, sir. How are
Hi,
you?
how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I can't hear you that great. Might be my
The
headset.
bassist that made me want to play was Roger Waters.
Oh yeah, from Pink Floyd.
Yeah,
Excellent. Excellent. And when did you how old were you when that
this was
became
about 2014, so I was about 16 years old.
okay.
I was at my friend Devin's house, and his brother was a couple years older. He had a bass and just
Yeah.
plucking around on it, and we were really into Pink Floyd at that time.
Okay.
So he got like a kind of a black and white bass, kind of like Roger Waters. It was just kind of
Hmm.
a like a knockoff bass, but we could still play it. And it was just sitting there in his room. He had the record player on, and I said, "Hey, let me just have a whirl on it."
Hmm.
And I'm like, "Okay, I like how it sounds," and just kind of kept playing from there.
Okay. Cool. So what was your favorite album?
My favorite album, like all time, or my favorite
Well, no,
bass
with
album.
Roger Waters on. What were the tracks that were making your ears pick up?
So the one that inspired me was "Shine on You, Crazy Diamond."
Hmm.
Um, it was the concept at first because Roger said that when David played just a couple notes, he had the whole album planned out in his head. And then, so when I listened to that album, like three-quarters through, there's like a bass breakdown in
Yeah.
that, and it's only about four notes, but he was able to get into a pocket, and something he played so simple was part of the whole complex arrangement of Pink
Yep.
Floyd. Just that, what, fifth fret to seventh fret E string groove. That's all he needed. I said, hey, you know what? Hey, I can do this too, and it kind of built from there.
Cool. 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 So you're still a fan of that? Okay, if that got you uh sort of attracted to being a bass player, what were the branches that came off of that? What did that then lead you to, liking Pink Floyd suddenly? Would that be how you got into Rush and Geddy Lee? Would have been
Mm.
through that sort of progressive sort of playing?
Well, I'll probably take you to the beginning real
Yeah,
briefly.
go for it. Go
It
for it.
was a grade nine guitar class,
Mhm.
and there was a bass there. So I seen there was a guitar player, a drummer, and a singer doing something, and they said, I said, hey, I want to play, and they said, okay, pick up the bass. I
Yeah.
said, I don't even know how to play it. I know how to play a guitar a bit, but I didn't know how to
Yeah.
play it. So they played "Eye of the Tiger," and all I needed was just the E string. Doom, doo, doom, doo, doom, doo, doo.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, I could do that. And then ba ba ba. That's probably again three to five on the fret, and then I could just do that the whole time and get away with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard a few bass players actually play Eye of the Tiger wrong, because there are a couple of little bits in there. If you don't get the push in the right place, it's off. And
Hmm.
it then means the bass player is out with the rest of the band if they do the push in the right place. Bill Derbyshire, Phil Lynott for you. Good choice, sir.
Mm.
Very good choice. So what then led you to Geddy Lee?
So
Because I
what
know
got me
that's kind
to
of where.
Geddy Lee was so like listening to Pink Floyd. I like that like dum da dum da dum. It's like very not clunky, but it's this kind of backbeat. It pushes up
Okay.
from the backbeat, dum, and it goes over the top of the sound. So you know what? I
Mhm.
like that. Um, Obviously, like I knew about Geddy Lee way beforehand, but as in terms of bass playing. I said, okay, they have a similar kind of bass. And I said, let's make this a bit more complicated. And I think the big thing was, one, I seen Rush in 2015, the year before. And when I see Geddy Lee like doing some of his bass solo, it's so fast. He uses his fingers and he's up and
Mhm.
down the fretboard. It's like listening to John Entwistle, but like faster. And
That's
then
saying something.
I'm like, okay, I can try to replicate that. So what I did was I would play the recording of the bass solo on YouTube because you
Mhm.
could find the concert, just the bass flares, and I tried doing like doom 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 doom, like skipping the strings with my fingers, and I was actually able to do some of that,
Mhm.
kind of copy that. So I would just play along with the live track, and that's what led me to Geddy Lee. It was just kind of this progressive rock. Um, hey, when you start out, you're like, hey, I want to play this faster. I want to. Can I do this fill quickly? And you're just trying to find your limits. So that
Yes.
was just one of the ways of finding the limits.
But then you see what happens then is that you realize once you start playing with a band as opposed to playing along to records, actually a lot of the fast technical stuff is as absolutely no use until you get the basic essentials in place. So you've got to learn to play in time. You've got to listen to what the rest of the band are doing. You've kind of got to keep everything locked in
Hmm.
because you are the glue that's making it sound good. And if you start going, not to say going off on technical excursions is a bad thing. It certainly isn't. And it's made for some of the best music we've ever heard. But you have to start with the basics. And if you don't get the basics in right, the technical stuff means nothing. Once you get the platform to make the rest of the band sound good, then you can go off and do your thing.
Hmm.
And yeah, or at least that's always been my approach. And it's like if ever I go and if I'm joining a band or I'm depping for a band, it's more apparent when I've got like a run of gigs with a band as opposed to a one-off. But if you're doing like 10 gigs with a band, first gig or two, I'm not pushing any boundaries or barriers as to what I can get away with. I need to make these guys think that they're regular guys there. And once they're comfortable that they're happy with what I'm doing and that I know what I'm doing, then you can start to sort of branch out a bit and start to play around them and with them. Um, and that seems to have stood me in fairly good stead. I'll be fair. But yeah, I mean, it is like you say when you're younger and you're thinking, right, I want to play this faster and I be more technical and do a million slaps and 100 taps and oh, isn't this one? And it's like you're only entertaining yourself because you go and play with a band and they'll be like, what are you doing? Where does that fit in with what we do, you know? But, it's a learning process. You learn it, and, I learned very early on that a lot of the stuff I'd learned that was kinda technical playing and my heroes that could play a bit, that had absolutely 0 relevance if I wanted to earn money, um, doing this, and so I kind of reined a lot of that back in. So it's like, about 2, 3 years ago, someone said, "Oh, can you do a load of tapping?" I can't remember what it was for. It might have been a recording. And I said, "God, I haven't done any of that since like 1994." Because to be honest, nothing I've ever done since has ever needed me to tap.
Mm.
It just hasn't. Um, Slapping, there's more call for that. But even that, for in my old covers band, the only couple of bits of slap I ever did was the bass solo for Call Me Al and Hot, Hot, Hot. Was the only 2 songs that we had that slapped. In Uncle Funk, the only couple of slap bits are the little part in, Car Wash and can't even remember. I don't think there's anything else that's slapped in
Red
in
Hot
Uncle
Chili
Tom.
Peppers.
We don't do that in. It's a disco band, so we don't tend to do any of that. I'm trying to think, what is it? Oh, in Feel the Force, there's a couple of bits that you can slap. So that's it. And you know, all that slap practice I did over the years, for what? For what? If you're in a band that does a lot of slap, then great. But you know, to be honest, a lot of the time it's a rarity that you end up in those sort of bands. But that's not to say it doesn't happen. Of course, it can. Gareth Harrison, roots, thirds, and fifths are your friend. Wise words,
Yep.
sir. Wise words. So yeah, that's that. So anyone watching, well, even if you're watching after the event, after the live chat, leave a comment. Who was the bass player that got you inspired to become a bass player yourself? Let us know. Let us know. We can come back to these topics at future live chats further down the road. It's all good. So what's been happening with you, my man?
Yeah.
Has
So
that
I guess
radio show appeared yet?
I probably have to follow up with that. I've just been kind of under the weather lately, so just trying to take it easy.
Sorry to hear that.
To follow up with him. The most recent one was probably, well, I think, yeah, it was 2 nights ago. I tried going to the casino, and because Ringo Starr was in town,
Ah,
and I wanted
his
to
all-star band.
hang out afterwards to see if any of the members would be in the casino after, but no, that didn't really work out. But because I knew a couple years ago, I went to Casino Rama in Northern Ontario,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just in the casino after the show, and I seen somebody flipping through a program of the concert. I said, "Hey, nice program. Where did you get that?" And he turned around. He said, "Oh yes, I just got it from the show." And I said, You're the bass player from the show." He said, Yes, I'm Colin Hay from Men at Work."
Men at Work.
Um,
Yeah.
so I was like in the front row earlier, and so I ended up talking to him for a while. So I did meet him before. So I was hoping it would happen again, but unfortunately, it didn't happen.
The best laid plans. Sometimes you get lucky and sometimes you don't.
Yeah, but anyways, I had a good time. I was just enjoying the nightlife there, and I don't really
Cool.
gamble much, but I just, hey, he was in town, so I'm like, you
Yeah.
just got to be in the right place at the right time.
Is he on this tour as well?
Yes.
Because the bass player does tend to, or the bass playing chair does seem to shift about a bit in Ringo's band. Sometimes he's got Richard Page from Mr. Mister.
Most of the bass playing was done from the Average White Band, Hamish Stewart,
Hamish Stewart, yeah.
and then maybe once every few songs, like they'll trade bass players. So there might be Colin might play a bass
Mm-hmm.
track. Steve Lukather played a couple bass tracks on there
He's
on
no
the live
slouch.
shows. So
He's
yeah,
no
they were kind
slouch
of.
on bass.
Pardon?
I said he's no slouch on bass either.
Oh no, he.
There's a couple of songs on Toto 14. 20th century blue, 21st century blues is Lukather on bass.
Hmm.
I think probably it was a track maybe he earmarked for one of his solo albums, and then when they needed material for that album, well, there you go, song written, ready to go. So yeah, he's no slouch on bass, that's for sure.
Well, yeah. So at one point he worked with Michael Jackson. Well, on guitar, I don't know how much bass he did, but when you're in that kind of
He did
circle
the
of
bass on
people,
beat. He did the bass on Beat It.
okay, wow, yeah. There you go. One of the most funkiest pop songs, and when I was pretty shocked when he started playing the bass because he was just right there in the pocket.
That's it, Gareth. Yes, see, peas in a pod, Gareth. You see, you type it and I'll say it. Yeah, I don't know how he got paid for that. I would imagine he got a session fee and points, maybe. but I would hope he got some sort of credit for that. I know he did on the liner notes, but that would have set him up for life. Not that Lucas is struggling for a few. Well, actually, no, he probably is actually in the current state of play with all the shenanigans around Toto and the Picaro's wife. But yeah, there we are. So what's coming up with you? What's happening with your bass playing?
What is I just have a lot of songs and papers scattered around. It's just probably a matter of organization. Is putting here's the song I want to play, and here's the thing I'll do with that. The any playing has just been kind of if I think of a riff, then I put it down right away, and then it's in my library. So I just need to manage my library, both digital and on my papers, basically, and see where that takes me. Yeah.
Okay. And are you going to get in a band at any point? Is that something you want to do, or have you thought
Well,
about getting in a covers band, earning a few bob?
I think that'd be pretty nice. Right now, I'm dealing with a couple different injuries and uh, barriers and things like that. So just kind of keeping it in the studio right now, and once I come up with some good things, I can ship them out there. So, but right
Okay.
now I'm doing the radio thing. So radio talk, music talk. I'd like to be a radio personality and just putting all the pieces together.
Cool, man. Very good. Very good. What's that? RJ. Now I'm going to try and pronounce your name, RJ. Right. So I'll have a couple of run ups at this. Jabginiak, or is the J silent? So Jabiniak, Yabiniak. You tell me. Am I close on any of those? He says Steve Harris and Geddy Lee were both great influences on me. Good choices. Very good choices. Gareth Harrison, have you seen Rick Beato's interview with Steve Lukather? Yes, I have. Yes, I have. I love Rick Beato. Like his interview with Brian May as well, because Brian's a big fan of his. So that's a good one to watch. Obviously, Tony Levin one recently, the one with Sting. Rick Beato's now got such a library of good videos on his channel. Anyone interested in music would be well advised to check out Rick Beato's channel here on YouTube. George Iliadis, all the way from Australia. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're well. RJ, you are perfect on the pronunciation on the first try. Awesome. Well, I try. So, Jebjiniak, is that's a good. That's getting a thumbs up. I'm close with that one. See, this is the problem, you see, because anything with a J can either be J or a Y. In some countries, it even has another sort of pronunciation. So I'm always aware that if there's a J in the middle, chances are that's going to be a Y. We'll go with
Silent J, or
silent J.
even in Sweden too, in the European
Yeah.
Jakob.
Well, I'm glad I did a good job there. So very good to see you. Very welcome here on Brooksy's Bass Corner. Thank you for joining in. Gareth, he's now interviewed all three members of the police. Yeah, that's not bad. And he got all of them before any of them passed away. So well done, Mr. Beato. Yeah, he's a
They
good
just had
guy.
a Stewart Copeland.
He's an easy watch, Rick Beato, because he knows what he's talking about. There's no fluff. Go on, sorry.
They just had a Stewart Copeland drum video on Drumeo. It was just released yesterday, or maybe this morning.
Yeah. Still got it. That man has still got it. I saw him with Gizmodrome in we'll get your dates right here. Spring 2018. So for anyone that does or doesn't know, so when I used to write for Bass Guitar Magazine, I interviewed Mark King following the release of the Gizmodrome albums. Gizmodrome, Stuart Copeland, Mark King, Adrian Ballou. There was a guy from Italy, and I can't remember his name. Brain cells are dying. And obviously I interviewed Mark, and you can have it if you want to listen to that Here's a link for that. I'll let me just pull that up. So obviously I've met Mark on a number of occasions, interviewed him several times for the mag. All good. Why isn't that finding the content? Bear with me, people. Sorry, YouTube's being very slow on my machine. No, you're not going for it, are you? Right. Okay, I'll find it on the playlist then, if you're going to be like that. So, as I say, I go to interview Mark King, and I'm walking up towards the hotel where all the members of Gizmodrome are being interviewed by several publications that day. And as I walk up to the hotel, Stewart Copeland sat outside with a coffee all on his own. And that sort of caught me by surprise. I went, "Good morning. How are you doing?" And he went, "I'm doing very well. How are you doing?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm here to interview Mark." He said, "Well, do you want to interview me as well?" I said, "I would, but I've got to be in that room in literally like 4 minutes." I said, "But if you're around at the end, if you want to do an interview, I'd happily do one." He said, "Absolutely. Great." And by the time me and Mark finished, because we had a lot to talk about, he'd gone. And that was the end of that. But I did get to say good morning to Stewart Copeland, one of my bucket list moments, of course. Why can't I get YouTube to play ball here? Okay, it's not having it. Right, I will find it via another search box. Bear with me. 2017. I'm tapping hard. Right, here we go. Here we go. That's the one. That's the one. So, yeah, anyone wants to check this out, you can enjoy. It's, I think it's about 40 minutes was the edited down highlights from that interview. So, yeah, I got to see that, and I saw them do the shows. They played in London at Scala in King's Cross a couple of months later. I got to see Stewart Copeland right up close, literally like 2 people in front of me. But not only just drumming, guitar playing as well. And he was great, you know, has not lost an ounce of energy from when he was younger. So great, you know, a lovely thing. A lovely thing. William Derbyshire, Vittoria Cosma, thank you very much. Well done, sir. Spared my blushes there. Yeah, and that was a good show. The only thing that spoilt it was I kind of got from doing the interview with Mark that I suspected, and I still do, and I haven't had the opportunity to interview Mark since and have a chat about it, but I suspect he was a little, I don't want to say annoyed, but I think he found Stewart Copeland hard to rein in. And everyone was like, "Oh, great, we got an album, we got an album." And Mark's thing in that interview was like, "We've got to have a good album. We're not just putting out an album of ideas and see what happens. We've got to have good material." And I suspect that by the time they got around to the shows, which would have been about 7 months later, I could tell Mark, he was not happy on that stage that night. He had his sunglasses on. He just had a face like thunder. And I think they'd done some shows and they'd done all the promo. And I think maybe Mr. Copeland's over exuberance just was wearing a little thin. But anyway, it was a good project to go and see. You know, Mark King and Stewart Copeland in the same band. Can't say I ever thought I'd see that, but there we go.
And Stewart Copeland also plays guitar sometimes.
Yeah, he did in this.
Oh,
He
cool.
was this was the thing. He kind of was a bit of a frustrated frontman. So he was playing guitar with Adrian Ballou. Pete Ray Biggin from Level 42 and Incognito was playing drums. And then when Mark was singing or Adrian Ballou was singing, Copeland would go behind the kit. So they have 2 drummers. That was an interesting dynamic that night. But yeah, interesting to see. I remember thinking, I can't believe I'm stood here and Mark King and Stewart Copeland are on the same gig. It's just crazy. But there we go. Things you thought you'd never see, but did. Very good. Very good. So you going to see any other gigs? Anything coming up?
I think I don't have any planned right now because I was just at a few different events. So right before the casino, I was in Hamilton, Ontario. They had
Mm-hmm.
Comic Con there,
Oh,
and
right.
there was a special guest. So one of the special guests was Simon Wright, the drummer of from Dio.
Mm-hmm.
So he was there. He also drummed for. I have my ACDC mug
AC/DC. Yeah,
because he
yeah.
drummed with them in the late '80s.
Your virtual background is zapping that out a bit.
Yeah, yeah, as long as you get the
We get a bit of it. Yeah.
color there. Um, so I was walking by and he waved over. I said, hi Simon, and we started talking, but I was just babbling the whole time about how much I love ACDC and Dio. So I just kept forgetting things and I blanked out. But
It happens.
he was really nice. He had his warm smile. He was finishing my sentences for me, and I just wanted to thank him for uh, continuing both of those bands in moments of transition and
Yeah.
creating some pretty solid albums too. Because I've listened to every ACDC album and every Dio album, and it was quite the honor to meet someone like him just a few
Mm.
days ago.
Cool. Cool. Don't ever worry about clamming up when you meet famous people. It happens to famous people meeting famous people. You know, sometimes it can be just a bit overwhelming. You think, what am I going to talk to them about? When I interviewed John Taylor, it wasn't face to face, which could have been a good thing. But I got told literally a couple of days before. I think it's probably 2 days before I had to do it. It's my hero. You know, I could, if someone gave me a blank piece of paper and said, just write down all the questions you would like to ask him, I could fill a book. In fact,
Mm,
many books. Yet 2 days before, my mind was a blank. It's like, what the hell am I going to ask? I hadn't heard the album at that point. It was for Paper Gods, and I hadn't had the download through from the record company. That came later that day. So obviously I couldn't talk about the new material. I hadn't heard any of it. It's like, well, what are you going to talk about? So I was delving through my memory thinking, you know, what did the 15-year-old me want to ask him when I was taking up bass? And as with most players of note of a certain status, when they've got a new album to record or to promote, they will swing the conversation around to the new material as much as they can because they've already worked out stock answers that they're going to say.
hmm
And I knew because I kept asking him a couple of things that were deviating off of that. I was trying to ask him stuff going back into the career. And he was like, oh, yeah, but on the new album, I do this, and I do that as well, became the sort of the connecting sentence between each thing he said. And I was like, I'm asking you questions that I think have some real relevance for bass players who like Duran Duran, fans of Duran Duran. We want people to read the article, buy the magazine for the article. And you're spinning it round to talking about Pitbull and EDM. That's got nothing to do with the question I've just asked you. But again, he had his stock answers. So when you meet famous people, don't ever worry about clamming up. They invariably they do because you're probably a little more in touch with reality than they are. And
mm
I always suspect, and having done quite a few names, they're off in a world of their own. And if you can offer some sort of down to earth groundedness, they're usually quite appreciative of that. Because they're not necessarily in touch with what's going on musically. They've probably been cocooned in a studio for 6 months, and now they're being let loose in the world of publicity to promote their new product. And They don't know what's going on necessarily. And you can throw names, bands, albums, things that are going on that are hot, and they'll look at you like, what are you talking about? I don't know the name you've just mentioned. Who's that? So yeah.
Yeah, it works both ways.
Don't ever worry about being shy around famous people. They get it all the time. They do. But it's all cool. It's all
Yeah,
cool.
we had a good laugh afterwards, and then I thanked him, and then I went on to the rest of the event there.
Good one. Good one. So any new purchases coming your way?
Oh
Any new
no,
things?
there's not a whole lot I can afford. Just like last time is do as much as I can from the base, and if I find any limits, then I can potentially do that.
Oh, cool.
There's probably a few music events going on in
Mhm.
around this time, but mostly just probably uh, other types of music I like. Like sometimes I'll go to a nightclub or listen to DJs as well, just to kind of soak in the what's going on today and different music. So pretty much all my money goes toward live events.
Okay.
Actually, I think next Saturday, Kim Mitchell is going to St. Catharines.
Is that the one from Pixies?
So Kim Mitchell played for Max Webster. Is one of Canadian.
I'm
That's okay.
off the bullseye there.
They're a Canadian band, and Kim Mitchell is one of the best Canadian guitar players of all time. So,
Okay.
just for context, Rush made a song, I think in maybe '76 with with Max Webster's band. There was a song called Battle Scar.
Okay.
So if you take a band like Rush, the Guess Who, and then another band, and then Max Webster, so they're kind of up there. But he's going to be playing next week. I think tickets are probably $30 just to get in, and then he'll play for free. So if I could manage, I'd probably do that.
Okay.
Because what I found was that I want to put my money into inspiration to see these bands that go on tour, and that inspires me to play more so I can do more with what I already have. So I'll go see a live band and
Hmm.
then do what they do and copy what they
Okay.
do with the gear that I have.
Fair enough. See, back in the the glory days of when people like me were coming up, we didn't have the joy of YouTube. So you wanted to learn something, you either watched it on the telly or you had to go and see those people doing it live and try and work out what was going on. I can remember all I'd seen of Billy Sheehan was I'd read about stuff in magazines. There wasn't really anything on the TV. I didn't see anything about like Mr. Big or David Lee Roth. You'd see the occasional Yankee Rose video and and then when he came over here and did the first, because I don't think the Eat 'em and Smile tour came to the UK. I don't know. I can't remember if it went to Europe, but so he'd never really done any London shows. And I remember sitting down at the Bass Centre on his very first bass clinic. I think it was the first one in the UK. And I'd heard all the record stuff, but I was like, I want to watch this guy do it and I want to see how he's doing it. And there's a lot of notes going on and I don't know how he's doing it. I don't know. I don't know what the technicality and the technique is.
Hmm.
And we sat there and I think he must have done like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And everyone, I remember looking around in the bass center and there was some seriously famous bass players there. And we're all like, how does he do all that? You hear he was playing whole Genesis arrangements, tapping, and he had it all down. And Beatles songs, he had the whole song, and it was all being done on bass. And everyone's like, "How'd you do that? How did?" And he said, "You literally just work out what parts make the song tick, and That's the bass part. Bomb, 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 bomb. And then the top hand's doing the melody part, and that's it. And if you can get your coordination right and your timing right, and you sit and you work it out. You can't play these things at speed, at tempo. You have to sit and piece it together, and then you build it up. And it's the same as anything when you're learning something. Don't go flailing off trying to learn it all at speed. It just, well, as I mentioned the other week when I was learning the Shaka Khan bass line for A Feel For You, I couldn't learn that at speed. It flies by way too quick trying to play the exact synth line. You've got to take it chunk by chunk, and that's what I did. And within 90 minutes, I had the whole thing done and under my fingers. Then I can start increasing the speed, and then as you build it up and play it more and play it more, it becomes second nature, and then muscle memory kicks in, and you've got it. That's or at least that's what works for me. Okay. But yeah, I can't remember what the path was that we got to there. What were we talking about that led to that?
So we're talking about the bass, and then before that was the Eat 'em and Smile bass player,
Yeah.
and before that was meeting famous bass players. So when we were talking about when I was talking about seeing Kim Mitchell live, it's like or I put my money where the opportunity is in the case of seeing different artists. So that's what I invest in, and it's been pretty good. Yeah.
No, I know how we got to that. It was going to see bands do it because we didn't used to have YouTube, so that was how you worked out the technical players, how their technique had been developed. You had to go and see them do it in order to try and work it out for yourself. But yeah, exactly that. So if you want to come on the live chat and join in with me and Dawson, you can. All you've got to do is send an email to brooksysbasscorner@gmail.com. I'll send you an invite. You click on the invite and you come straight through. It is as simple as that. Yep, that's everything. I realized I had the topic of conversation. I'd missed out the word bassist, so it didn't make for a particularly easy read. Which inspired you to become a bass player?
Oh.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, missed out the word bassist. I know I typed it earlier when I wrote the banner, but for some reason the StreamYard software wasn't keeping up with what I was typing on the keyboard. So it's coming up 9:20 here in London town, here in the UK. Live chat 81 of these. I can't believe it. Every week it's like one more. It's like in the prison. 1, 2, 3, 4 notch. Yeah. So we're on 81. We've done 81 of these since the channel started. So thank you very much. Whether you've got involved tonight or any of the live chats over the past, it's coming up for 4 years. First one was December 2020. So thank you very much. It's I do appreciate all the input, all the likes, all the comments, all the new subscribers. We've had another subscriber surge the past week. I don't know what's causing it. We keep getting these flurries of like 10 to 20 subscribers all in one hit, and it's great.
It's me.
Thank you
It's
very
me.
much. It's you, is it? You got 20 different accounts, have you? But yes, thank you very much. All the new subscribers, you're very welcome. Good to see you. Thanks for coming on board. And as I said, we had a new video up on Friday, which was for the Flattley Bass Ace. It's a tone booster. It's actually over there, because I was doing some more footage with it earlier today. Really great pedal. Really great. Very simple. Only 2 controls, volume and tone. Works really effectively. Like all the Flattley pedals. Getting my teeth in today, I tell you. The glue's not holding. Yeah, basically it's a tone booster, and it keeps your tone clean. So normally when you start boosting volume levels, you start to get distortion and coloration, and you start getting tone bleed and all of that kind of thing. With this, you can use it either as a volume boost or a volume cut. So if you play quite loud and you want to kick in a cut that's predetermined, you can use it in that way. The tone control allows you to, when you've got it set minimally, it will give you a bass boost, sort of round out your bass end. Go for the mid setting, it will give you some more mid-range punch. You then go to the full extreme the other way, you're going to get a top end clarity boost. And then also, one of the really handy things, if you put it after a distortion pedal or an overdrive pedal, you can then boost that level and keep it clean without making the distortion totally oversaturated. And with a lot of pedals, if you start boosting anything after a distortion pedal, you just end up with a sonic mush. It's horrible. It sounds like a bunch of wasps in a tin. With this pedal, it doesn't do that. So you set the distortion how you want it. And as I show in the video, with this pedal, you can then boost that. So if you've got a very high tone setting on the distortion pedal, you can rein some of that in with this pedal, but give the volume a boost. Works really, really well. Very effective. Intuitive to use. You can hear everything that's going on. It's all very obvious. It's not one of these pedals where you turn and turn and turn and nothing's happening. Literally every adjustment, something's going on, and I've tried to convey that in the video. So if you've watched the video, enjoyed it, liked it, commented on it, thank you very much. It went up on Friday night in the US, but it was actually Saturday morning here in the UK that it went live. I set it up to go in the middle of the night because that's what the analytics told me to do. So I did. And that was that. So there'll be another Flattley video tomorrow, which is the new and improved Poison Ivy bass fuzz, which sounds fabulous. And then we've got a couple of bass demos, a couple of bass reviews, and I've still got some vintage interviews to put up. I want to get the Barry Morehouse Bass Center one up from 2016. So I'm in the process of actually scanning a load. Let me see, where are they? They might be upstairs. I've got a load of the old flyers from the Bass Center. They used to do a monthly mail out, like a double A4 flyer of basses that were for sale, amps, promotional items, bass players that had been in store, special offers, all that sort of thing. Scanning them all in because I'm going to incorporate them into the video. So look great. And I've actually pulled out like a load of my old guitarist and bassist mags and scanned in some of the Bass Center adverts from those. So it's all vintage stuff here. It's all vintage stuff. And I'm hoping if I can get Barry to give me some time in his diary, we're going to do a more recent, current, up-to-date video on what the great man's up to, what's in store for the Bass Center going forward. And then there's all the stories, of course. And I've got loads of that in this vintage interview, but we want to dig a bit deeper. I want to go a bit deeper on some of the stuff he talked about in this this interview 8 years ago, and bring things up to date as well. So find out what his plans with the Bassmasters, British Bassmasters series is going to be, and you know where he's going. Really, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Good luck with the project there. Everything should go well.
I can only convey to you what the Bass Center was like in the days before the internet. A place like the Bass Center was heaven for a bass player, truly. I'd never seen anything like it. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it since. And even places like Bass Direct, Bass Gallery, they're not what the Bass Center was. The Bass Center was a unique place. There'd never been anything like it up to the point it started. There's never been anything like it since. It was a unique distribution retail point for literally every bass brand on the planet. And where they were major distributors for certain brands, they carried literally one of everything. Although as times changed and brands moved on and ranges changed, you know, you could go in there 1 month, there'd be a whole setup of Warwick stuff. You come back 2 months later and the Warwick stuff was reduced and something else was paramount. You know, it was like that. But there was so much gear in there, and it was like going to bass school every time you walked in there because you'd learn something new. So whether that was a new brand or a new instrument or a new finish or some new electronics, or like I used to sit in with Chris in the repair section. I just watch him do stuff, and he says, as long as you sit there and don't annoy me, I've no problem. And you'd watch him fix things, and it's like, right, okay, that's how they do it, and that's how you grind a fretless fingerboard when it's all gouged out, and you sand it down and you set it all back up again, or taking a fingerboard off a bass to get to the truss rod because you couldn't get at it from the back. And it's great. It was really great. And you'd be sat there, and Boz Burrell from Bad Company would walk in because he needed his fretless fingerboard skinned, and then Pino Palladino might just walk in, and you're like, okay. And then my bass hero Derek Taylor from Roachford, he'd pop in, all 6'3" of him. And I mean, met many a famous bass player down there. And the lovely thing was, in there, everyone was friends. There was no, do you know who I am? There was none of that. No one. There weren't really airs and graces. If very famous people were there, they didn't have much time, and they were there to see Barry about business. They just went. They literally walked in from the front door straight through to his office. But I can remember meeting all sorts of people there, and it was just great. And they'll all talk to you, and, oh, what are you doing? Oh, yeah. So who do you like? Oh, yeah. Oh, it's a good album, that. Yeah. And what do you play? Oh, yeah. And that's just the way it was. A lot of places now aren't like that, unfortunately. But it was a real, it was a breeding ground of technique and, just good bass vibes all round. And you just learned so much about gear because you could sit there and play it. They were quite happy, even if you didn't buy anything and you were in there all day trying stuff out. They pretty much knew you'd come back one day and buy something. And I think pretty much most people did. Bill Derbyshire, it was brilliant. Got my first Warwick bass there. What did you buy? Was it a Thumb or a Streamer or a Dolphin? Corvette? No, I'm sure you would have had one of the first batch. We're talking Streamers, stage 1 or stage 2, or a Thumb. And I think the Bass Centre was the first place you could get them here in the UK. And I'm sure they were. I'm sure they were the first UK distributors before it went to Mad Distribution. But like I say, you could go and sit in there. I remember going in there on a Saturday morning, November '89, and I'd heard all about Warwicks and stuff, but I'd never really sat and played any. And my whole day was based around being at the Bass Centre and going to Denmark Street and Charing Cross Road in London, trying out as much gear as I could, trying to find all the luxury basses I wanted to try. And my dad dropped me off quite early in the morning. I think it was about 7:30 at Wimbledon. We were coming up from South Coast because we lived on the South Coast at the time. And he was working in Moorgate. So he dropped me off in Wimbledon, and then I'd get the tube over to Wapping. And I was first in that day. I got there just as Chris Ward opened up. And he said, do you know what you want to try? I said, I just want to try everything. I'm trying to get an idea of what I want to buy. I'm 17 years old and I'm saving up to buy all the basses I ever want. And he said, right. He said, well, you better get stuck in. There's a trace rig. Just use what you want. Just be careful not to damage anything, and I'll let you crack on. And that was it. So I literally went through the whole range of Warwick basses they had that day. Tried a Warwick 5, Thumb 5, Thumb 4, Streamer stage 1, stage 2. Take your pick of colours. And it was great. Tried out a load of Aria stuff, some Alembics, some JDs, Spectres, Wows, Statuses. There was everything in there. It was just lovely. I think I stayed there till about 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, then went off to Charing Cross Road. And it was just Aladdin's cave, People keep bringing you cups of coffee and have a chat. And I didn't know any of them, but it was great. But I think I walked out there with about £100 worth of bass strings. I just bought a load of different sets, different brands, tried them all, worked out what I liked, what I didn't. And that was the joy of the place. Bill, you bought a Corvette, Warwick Corvette. Very good. Also got some free back issues of bass magazines. That was the thing. They'd have racks of bass mags. And you'd say, well, how much, you know, if I want those, how much? Oh, just have them. Because they got them all for free anyway. They would get sent back like batches of 10 each magazine, and they just stick them in the racks. As long as you were nice, polite, if you bought something, they're quite happy for you to take things like magazines. And there was always a table full of flyers. So I've got still all of that. I think my flyers are upstairs. I'm trying to see. Yeah, I think they're upstairs. But I've got stuff going back to like 88, 89. Actually, hang on, I might have a few here. Try not to pull stuff off my desk. Hold on. They're not flyers, they're magazines. I'll show you next week. I'll dig them out next week. But like, I remember picking up back issues of Bass Player and stuff there. It's just great.
I'll show you some of mine too. I have guitar magazines, yeah, going back to probably 88, 87.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all good stuff. You don't realize the value of it until
I
you
have to
check
get
it out.
going soon.
Okay, mate. Pleasure to speak to you. Thank you for coming on the live chat. Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, and
All right, mate.
good luck with the compiling some of the interviews there, and I'll let you know if I go and see Kim Mitchell on the weekend.
Do. We'll see you soon.
Okay, have a great day.
Right, look after yourself, my man. Take it easy.
You too.
See you soon. Bye-bye. And that was Dawson. There we are. Where are we? It's just gone 9:30 here. Brooksy's Bass Corner, live chat 81. Coming to you all the way from London town here in the UK. It's good to see you. Welcome aboard. I'm just going to check the stream health. I can do that in the YouTube studio. Stream health is excellent. There we go. That's good. Bill Derbyshire. Bizarrely, it was the third Corvette that I tried that I bought as the first. I can't see that. Hold on. As the first two were very different. That's Warwick's generally. They're not that they're not consistent, but as I've always said with any bass, you can have 10 of the same bass. They're not all going to play and sound the same. But yeah, okay. Well, I'm good. Pleased that the third one worked out for you. It's great. George Iliadis, is the Bass Centre still around? Well, the Bass Centre now isn't a retail store. It's around. It's in Bagshot in Surrey. I can give you a link here. Bear with me a moment. So in order to go there, you kind of have to let them know beforehand. You have to arrange that you're going. And there we go. And if they're able to accommodate you, they will. Lovely people. So now they carry their own range, obviously the Bass Centre stuff. Things like Betsy, of course, which I've mentioned weekly. Copy of Guy Pratt's 64, 62, 64. Burgundy Mist bass that he calls Betsy. That's part of their British Bass Masters series. So they do all of that. They have their own range of basses, the power bass, the jive bass, the Detroit bass, the Powerhouse, the Bass Collection speakeasies. They also carry, although, excuse me, something just got the sinuses going. Oh no. Excuse me. They are distributors for NS Design, the uprights and the radial basses. And they're radius basses, the NS Omni, NS double bass, and then they also carry Tech 21 stuff and a whole bunch, some Phil Jones bass stuff, just a whole load of stuff that they've always been sort of renowned for. And then there's obviously the Elite Strings. They've got all the 40th anniversary merch. So a couple of weeks ago, I had the T-shirt and the cap. But yeah, so anything, if you see anything on their website, George, that you're interested in, you can order direct They're very efficient, good people to deal with. Bill Dobshay, have you had a chance to play the new Snakebite, Neil? Yes, they're here. I've got them here, Bill. I got them out 3 weeks ago. So got both bases. So there's one with a maple board, one with ebony board. I'm working on the videos at the moment. There'll be demos, shorts, review videos. Probably next week. I think this week, get the Flattley one out, get the Wilcock videos out, and then it's the Neil Murray Snakebite basses next week. So come back here, Bill. You'll see it all here, and it'll be all over the social media, of course. And I'll let you know when that's there. But they sound great, play great. Very impressed. I may even contact Neil Murray. Might even do a little interview. I've got an old interview with him from 8 years ago to put up, so maybe I'll integrate it all into one thing. Yeah, it was one of the live chats, I think 3 weeks ago. I think. In fact, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you which one it is. I can just go to the. I can just go to the timestamps. Bear with me a minute. Was it that one? Might have been that one. Yeah. Live chat 77. I'll give you the link. Here you go. So they're in there. There you go. If you have a look on that video, go into the description box, go to the timestamp section. You'll see it says, I can read it out to you. It says, the new Bass Center Snakebite Neil Murray signature basses. There you go. At 1 minute 40 and 35 seconds. I can't be more precise than that. That's about as close as you're going to get. So if you just go to that point in the video, it's there. They're both there. So if you got any questions about basses, bass guitars, bass amps, bass effects, bass accessories, bass strings, gig bags, anything to do with bass guitars and bass guitar players, stick your comment or question in the text box at the bottom of the chat window. Press send and it will appear here in the chat window. Alternatively, if you'd like to come onto the live chat by video, just like Dawson did, you can do that. Email brooksysbasscorner@gmail.com. I'll send you an invite. You click on the invite and it brings you straight through here on the video. Yeah, that's all going good. And good. Right. Just on top of things here. That's grand. We've had 2 new subscribers while we've been on live chat. If you're watching, new subscribers, welcome. Good to see you. Thank you for coming on board. You're very welcome. Come and get involved. I can see someone called Robbie Sampson's just messaged the channel. He's just watched the entire bass collection video, when, where, and why I bought them. He said it's a sublime collection. Yeah. John Taylor and Mark King are such great influential players. They are the 2 standout players that made me want to play bass. Nice Prince t-shirt, by the way. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. I will respond to that when the live chat is finished. I will get back to you, as I say, once the live chat is finished. But if you're watching, thank you for commenting on the video. Very much appreciated. Gareth Howson, what are your favorite bass YouTube channels? Woohoo! Now you're asking. I'll be honest, Gareth. I don't really look at any. I know that sounds ridiculous, and on the one hand, any other bass channel is a competitor, but I don't look at it like that. I can't do what other people do. I can only be me. There is only me. I don't have a team of people around me, and so I have to work within the confines that being a one-man operation sort of provides you with. But I really I don't look at anyone else's channels. If I'm looking for something specifically, like I'm looking for information about a piece of gear or something, and it will throw up someone else's video, and I trust their opinion, then that's fine. I'll sort of get involved and I'll have a look on their channel and see what they're doing. But I tend not to get that involved in other people's channels, and it's not being disrespectful. Do you know what? I interviewed Bagiti Kamalu back in 2016 when he was over here with Paul Simon. And in that interview, I said, "So who do you listen to? What other bass players do you listen to? What material, what fires you up?" He said, "I don't." He said, "I pay no attention to other bass players. I don't listen to any other bands, really." He said, "I'll hear stuff, like if I'm somewhere and the radio is on or someone's playing music, I'll hear it." He said, "But I don't seek out other players." He said, "I just don't want to." It was almost like he was saying he didn't want his playing to be contaminated by other people's ideas. And I thought, well, that's a very strange way of going about things. But I'm kind of the same now with regards to YouTube. I don't want to see what other people are doing, because if I see someone with a good idea and I haven't come up with it, it's going to be way too tempting, if their idea is doing really well, to do exactly the same thing. Having said that, there's kind of a finite amount of ideas you can do in a bass idiom. And I do get people asking me all the time, why don't you do any theory? Why don't you do, music knowledge and be like a teacher? And it's like, there are tons of bass players out there doing it really, really well. And I'm just going to get lost in that. But also, I'm not a kind of theoretical music theory guy. I've had no formal music education. I've never had proper structured bass lessons. I've learned everything by ear and just doing the job. So I don't want to be up against people who've done ACM and BIM and ICMP and been off to Berkeley, and I can't even begin to compete on that level. Now I could lie and pretend that I know all of it and get some music books and pretend I know all about it. That's not me. What you get is what you see is what you get. So, if I don't know something, I'll be openly honest and say, I just don't have a clue. I don't know how to answer what you're asking. So my approach generally is, I've got a load of knowledge and it's all up there. And if I can impart some of it to you guys, then great. And I try and produce relatively entertaining content if I can, and some information, some advice, some knowledge. And if people buy into that and think I'm genuine and enjoy the way I present it, then fabulous. Job achieved. That's what I'm aiming for. But in terms of other people's YouTube channels, well, I mean, I just don't have the time in the day to sit and watch, and I'm awful with YouTube, because I could sit and just go down rabbit hole after rabbit hole after rabbit hole, and before you know it, the day's gone by, I've achieved nothing. And the way my life has gone in the past 4 years since I started the channel, there's so much that I have to do every day, and that has had a significant impact on the content here on the channel. I struggle to be consistent on a very regular basis because I just don't have the time in the day. The hours in the day just fly by. But I'm now getting to a point in the year where my gigging diary and schedule calms down, because we're out of festival season. I'm not doing 101 depth gigs where I have to learn stuff constantly, day after day after day. So things are a bit more settled. So now I can kind of get into a routine. If you actually look at the release schedule on the channel, if you go back to the earlier videos, you'll see autumn is usually a pretty good time for me in terms of producing content. So for all those who are new to the channel, yes, there's going to be loads of new content coming out over the next few weeks and months as we build up to Christmas. But yes, in answer to your question, Gareth, I can't really. I mean, it'd be very easy for me to rattle off the regular names. I'm just looking at a sheet behind my monitor of other bass channels because I have their information in vidIQ. So basically, I can rate how my channel's doing against what other bass channels are doing. So on that list, in fact, let me go into vidIQ. That's probably best because the list of competitors is on there. But I don't see them as competitors. We're all doing our own thing in a way that we all do our thing, you know. So, you know, Danny Sapko, I can't be him, and I don't want to be him. I do stuff in my way, and I really like what he does. I like his approach. So, well, you got to start with the big one, haven't you? Scott's bass lessons. But I tend not to watch anything that Scott does. He does his own thing. He's got Ian Allison there. I'm on my own. I can't do what they do. And Scott has built up a leviathanic channel there with video editors that work for MGM and the best people in the business for doing YouTube. So I can't compete. I can't work on that level. I can't be that consistent. I've got the Andertons guys there. I've got E-Bass Guitar, Bass Buzz. I really like what he does, actually. The stuff I've seen. Bass the World. I think they do really great. That's kind of a level I'd like to be at, doing review stuff. And what I've done here on the channel is tried to take what I used to do for Bass Guitar Magazine and Bass Player and put it into a YouTube channel. The problem has been being consistent. So when I started the channel, I was putting videos out like 3 a week at one point. But as we came out of lockdown, I've been gigging, life things take over. It's very hard to do 3 long form videos a week unless you are just doing YouTube full time. And also over time, I've tried to improve the quality of what I'm doing. I think it's Marcus Brownlee said you need to try and make each video 1% better than the last video you did. And I try and work on that premise. I always think I've got a perfect template. So if I'm doing a demo, I've got my demo template. If I'm doing a review, I've got my review template. But there's always something I can just tweak, maybe a text overlay or a graphic or a transition or something. There's no perfect video. And, you know, a lot of people they put off starting a YouTube channel because they want everything to be perfect from the moment you do it. It will never be perfect, ever. But all you can do is just keep trying to improve the little things. And over time, as you do videos more and more, they get better. Your editing gets better. Your recording gets better. Your audio recording gets better. Your graphics work gets better. So back to that list of competitors. Patrick Hunter's on there. Bass channel. The Bass channel. Toman Guitars and Basses. Nate Navarro. Stu Clayton. Well, Stu's no competitor. He does a totally different thing to me. But Stu and I are great friends. We've known each other 22 years. 23 years, actually. I think 2001 I first met him. So, yeah. He's not a competitor. But obviously, as a bass channel, he's there. And he's on my my graph, my metrics graph. Tom's Place of Bass. Dan Hawkins Bass Lessons. Big shout out to Dan. I do like Dan's channel. He's lovely. We've got Daisy Pepper on there. We've got Low End Lobster, Danny Sapko, CC's on there. She does stuff with Andersons and does her own channel as well. We've got Johnny Dibble. We've got now a new entrant here, Tatiana Ryabinkina. She's been quite progressive this year with her posts and stuff. So, like I say, they're in the competitors list, but they're not competitors. We all just do our thing. But I tend not to sort of get fixated on watching other people's content. I sometimes check in on what Bass the World are doing because they get all the gear as soon as it comes out. And You know, I watched their review of the Source Audio Spectrum filter, the envelope filter, and I was blown away with what they did on that. I thought the audio was superb. So, yeah. So that's my answer there, Gareth. Sorry about that. Couldn't be a bit more illuminating, but I just don't have the hours in the day. And like I say, I don't want to be latching on to what other people do. I can, within vidIQ, I can see what trending topics are. And I wouldn't want someone else's channel to do something and I copy it within like a day or two, because that's not really good form. But Patrick Sweeney, good to see you. Saw you pop up there. Original inspirations to play bass with Vadim White and Stanley Clark. Great. And then Mark King, when he turned up with level 42. The actual reason is my dad, who's a jazz pianist. Well, you've never supplied that nugget of info. Well, I'm impressed. Liam, good to see you, Liam. I don't know who you are. I don't think you've been here on the channel before. Maybe you're new to the channel. You're very welcome anyway. Good to see you. Original inspiration was John Taylor from Duran Duran. Thank you very much. I don't know why I'm saying thank you very much, but many of us of our age and vintage, John Taylor was the inspiration for a lot of us. You know, we had to put up with all the cat calling in the 80s. You know, they can't play their instruments. It's all session musicians. They're just a bunch of good looking guys. Well, here they are 45 years on, still doing it. So you've watched around for a while but haven't commented. Well, you're always welcome. You're amongst friends. That's the way to think of it. Here we go. I'll even star your comment. Excellent. Patrick can have a star too. Yeah. So there we go. Well, I'll fire it back at you, Gareth Harrison. What are your favorite bass YouTube channels? Actually, there was something I said about a year and a half ago on one of the live chats, and someone was I can't remember if it was me or someone else was asking about bass chat. I think it might have been Joe Goose, the legendary Joe Goose, and he was asking me about something on bass chat, and I said at the time, this will come back and bite me one day. I was quite pleased that I'd managed to sort of fall under the bass chat radar, because there's a thread running on bass chat saying, who are your favorite bass YouTubers? Never once have I been mentioned on there. And I actually am quite proud of it, because if I'm flying under that radar, then I'm not being shot at. So I'm quite happy with that. I do post on there occasionally, not that much. I have a not checkered background with bass chat. I was on the original version, which was called Bass World, back in the early to mid 2000s, before it became bass chat. There was another guy that owned the domain, and Ped and Kiwi couldn't get him to give up the administration rights, so they had to rename the forum bass chat so they could control it. And but I've been on bass chat from day one, and unfortunately it got my backup in about 2008 2009. Certain bloke who will remain anonymous, although if you search hard enough you'll see the conversation, basically got the hump because a bass he'd had custom made I reviewed for Bass Guitar Magazine, and he wanted it to get 100 out of 100. Well, I've never given a review 100 out of 100, and anyone that reviews any product, if they give it 100 out of 100, they're lying. There's always something that can be improved. And anyway, I said this bass was extremely heavy. It had, I think, Coca-Cola front and back. It weighed a ton. I think it was close to about 5 kilograms. It had all the bells and whistles that luthier was building at the time. I mean, it was a work of art, but it was it wasn't unplayable, but it was like wearing a tree. Okay, it's like that, like wearing a wardrobe around your neck. Anyway, I put it as politely as I could. He wanted 100 out of 100. I think it got 95 out of 100. And I just mentioned there were some areas, it was a custom bass built for him, not built for me. On that basis, this is what I would change. Got the hump. and basically slated me in the magazine for months on end, almost like it became a daily ritual. And eventually I had to have a little word, and we did go face to face at the first London bass show, and I pulled him up on it, and I said, right, we're going to get this out in the open once and for all. Why did you say all that? He said, well, I wanted you to give it 100 out of 100. I said, well, you don't get 100 out of 100. I said, I'm allowed to say what I like. You put the bass up for review. The luthier put it up for review. If it's not what you want, no one cares. It's irrelevant. But if you don't like someone saying, I think this could be improved, or that could be better, or I changed this, you shouldn't have put the item up for review in the first place. And he went, oh, no. I said, so why have you been, slagging me and the magazine off? And it's almost become like an obsession. What's the problem? He said, well, no, there is no problem. I said, right. So get your head out of your backside. Stop being a keyboard warrior. And just be a nice guy. I said, it's a much better way to be. Funnily enough, he relented and said, yeah, I guess you're right. I said, yeah. I said, all you've done is got to a point. I don't want to go on Bass Chat. I don't want to use it. I want nothing to do with it. I said, because you've used it as like a personal forum for shooting us down. I said, and we're just trying to do something good for the bass community. And you don't see it that way. I said, but, So anyway, so that was that. So I was having a little moan there. But there we go. There we go. But yeah, I do kind of wear it as a bit of a badge of honor that I've managed to sort of slip under their radar. So I'm quite pleased with that. And also the fact that I did a competition here on the channel at tail end of 2020 into 2021. I didn't realize you weren't allowed to mention competitions or YouTube channels, self-promotion on Bass Chat. And it was the closing day of that competition. I posted a thing up just to see any last stragglers wanted to enter that competition to win the Trace Elliott 1x10 Elf combo, which was a new bit of gear at the time. And it got taken down within like 2 minutes of it going up. And yet another bass player, who shall remain nameless, did exactly the same thing about 2 months later. And it was allowed. And I thought, it's double standards. And I brought it up with one of the administrators. And I just got a load of waffle back as to why the other guy was allowed to do it and I wasn't. And I just thought, well, fair enough. I'll keep away from that then. So I do, generally. But there we are. But I have to say the channel's in rude health. Everything's in green, heading upwards. More subscribers, more views, more watch hours. Everything's good. So thank you. Subscribers, people who are watching who don't normally watch the channel, people who may have just strayed onto this thinking we're talking fishing. We get that. Talking all things bass, and they think it's all things bass, of course. And but there we go. There we go. Patrick Sweeney, piano was my first instrument. My dad didn't think I took my lessons seriously. He was right. I didn't. He suggested bass as he was always looking for decent bass players for his band. First thing I got told within like a month of being a bass player was, you will always get work because good bass players are hard to find. Everyone wants to be a drummer or a guitar player. No one wants to play bass, but if you can play bass reasonably well, you can make a career out of it. And they were right. Yes, they were. I've done okay. I've done okay. Liam, ultimate pro of having kids is to complete your band. Ultimate pro. Not sure that makes sense. Can you write that again, Liam? Ultimate pro. Do you mean having kids allows you to complete your band? Is that what you mean? As they grow up, you've got instant musicians. I'm guessing that's what you mean. I'm guessing. Yeah, right. Very good. Yeah, I've known musicians that have done that. The late great Jim Rodford amazing bass player. Played for the Kinks, Argent, Zombies, loads of bands. Huge career. He died a couple of years ago. I used to play in a band with his son, Steve Rodford. Great drummer, lovely musician, lovely guy. I haven't seen him in, goodness me, 24 years. Blimey, Steve, you won't be watching this, but miss your bones. Long time, haven't seen you. All his sons played. And at one point, I think they had a band called the Rodford Files, which was Jim on bass, Steve on drums. I think the other son might have been called Dominic or Damon, maybe. Can't remember. And he was a good guitar player. And so they kind of had their own covers band thing that they go and do pubs and functions. But yeah, Gareth Harrison, the obvious, like Scott's bass lessons, e-bass, guitar, talking bass. I loves Mark. Mark's great. Yannick Gwizdala. Liam, SBL is a little too waffly nowadays, I think. Okay. I take all that on board. See, I signed up to the free stuff with Scott about 10 years ago. Just wanted to get an idea of what was going on because he was very much flavor of the month, long before I even had visions of doing a YouTube channel. And I just found the constant battering of email and social media. And it was just like relentless. And I try not to do that. And I don't have like an email list. I don't do all of that because I don't have a product to sell, just me. I don't have any courses or anything at the moment. And I just found it was like concept, it was like someone poking you with a stick, and it was just becoming more and more frequent. And I ended up having to sort of unsign up to that and just sort of drop off it because it was just like too much. And also, I'm not a theory kind of guy. So a lot of what he was promoting at the time was he was trying to push his courses. So you watch stuff on the YouTube channel, you signed up for the courses, and that's how he makes his money. It's cool. You know, everyone can do that. But it just wasn't for me. And I just thought I don't have the time to commit to doing all of this. And I'm certainly not going to pay money for a course that I then don't use. It seemed a bit daft, really. And that was that. Occasionally I'll sort of dip a toe into what he's currently doing and I'll see what they're talking about. But I can't, there's too much content there and I just can't keep up with it. And like I say, I'm busy enough trying to do my own thing that I tend to just let all the other channels do their thing. And you know, if someone wants to do a collaboration or something, drops me a line, drops me a message, wants to do something, that'd be great. But it's not something I kind of actively chase. And to be honest, a lot of the chat, I don't see a lot of cross-pollination for the bass YouTubers. Generally, everyone sort of sticks to their own thing and kind of that's it. But you know, anyone wants to come on the live chat, join in, you want to promote your channel, maybe you've got a product you want to promote, feel free. That's the whole joy of having the video facility now via StreamYard. We can do video live chat. I'm just checking the emails. No one wanted to come on, so that's cool. Patrick Sweeney, talking family connections. I didn't know if you knew that Martin Sims's daughter is our vocalist. No, I didn't. Which one? He's got two, I think. No, I didn't know that. That's very handy for your bass, isn't it? Sorry, plectrum up off the floor that I dropped. Ah, very good. How is your band doing, Patrick? I saw something from your band fall into my Facebook feed about a week ago. Shannon, yeah. Jiminy Cricket, good to see you. I don't think you've ever been here on my channel before. You're very welcome. Enjoy the content. Join in the live chat. Excellent. Thank you. Geezer Butler, Steve Harrison, Lemmy were your inspirations. Fabulous. Well, there's a trio to contend with. Excellent. I would assume you're of the rock persuasion in that case. But no, good, fine trio of players there. Very good. What were the tunes or albums or tracks that particularly got you inspired from those fine gentlemen, the heavy metal godfathers? Absolutely. Absolutely. Never met Lemmy, but heard many, many stories. So in my old covers band, which I was in with two members of FM, they told me many a story about Lemmy, because Lemmy loved FM. He loved the vocal harmonies, and they sort of crossed paths on many occasions, allegedly. And he would wax lyrical to Mr. Overland about how he loved what they did with their harmonies. Yes, indeed. So it is 10:05 here in London town, here in the UK. We're on live chat 81 here on Brooksy's Bass Corner. You're very welcome. Good to see you. If you've got any questions about basses, bass guitars, bass amps, bass effects, strings, accessories, gig bags, pedals, you want to learn how to put a pedal board together or connecting the pedals up in the right chain to get the most out of the pedals and the tone, we can help with that. If you've got an audition coming up, maybe you're auditioning for something big, something small, maybe you've never done an audition before. If I can advise you, give you some help, give you some pointers, that's what I'm here for. And if there's anything I don't know, I will open it up to the fine people here on the Brooksy's Bass Corner live chat. And between one of us, or several of us even, we will try and help you as best we can. Manfred Oliveras, good to see you, Manfred. Hope you're well. Steve Harris, of course. 506 in Puerto Rico. Sunny and 30 degrees. Well, you've got the weather, my friend. We've had rain here in London for a couple of days. It was actually dry today, but it's getting colder and it's overcast. We've got rain due for the next couple of days. It's all going downhill here. You enjoy that sun, my friend. You enjoy that. Liam, what's on your board right now? Okay, I'm kind of transitioning between two boards. So we've not had this chat, Liam, and you've not been on live chats clearly. So I'll explain my love affair with effects. So up until COVID, I wasn't a huge effects user. I had probably about 20 or 30 here at home for in case I needed them. Very rarely I ever used effects. The one thing I always had in my box was an octave pedal, occasionally a chorus pedal, but other than that, they didn't really come out that often. And so we go in to lockdown. We have COVID. I ended up joining Uncle Funk's Disco Inferno, which was a band I used to det for. Had a big change in the band, and I got involved on a full-time basis with that. So that opened up the opportunity to use envelope filters, octave pedals, a bit of fuzz, bass synths, trying to get all the disco bass lines happening. I built a board on a Pedal Train Classic 2, and I used it probably for about 4 months, and I realized after a certain period of time that actually I didn't need that size of board and that number of effects. I could actually do what I needed to do with about 5 pedals. So I built a smaller board. I actually had the board already. It was just a case of taking my favorites off the Pedal Train and plonking them on this small thing. So I went from, so the Pedal Train board was, take a big take a breath, Boss TU2 tuner into a Digitech drop into EBS Octabass into an Electro Harmonics knockout pedal into an MXR bass fuzz into an Aguilar filter twin envelope filter into an EBS dephaser into an EBS Unicourse. Now that's the grey one. What's the black one? The black label EBS chorus pedal anyway. And then from there, that went into the Aguilar tone hammer. So I stripped that down to the tuner pedal, Digitech drop, EBS Octabass, Aguilar filter twin, into the Aguilar tone hammer. So that became the smaller board. I've pretty much done everything I needed for the past 3 or 4 years with that smaller board. Occasionally I might add something in, like for a while this year, I was playing around with some chorus pedals, trying to thicken up my bass tone on a couple of songs. Now I'm about to do Uncle Funk's Decades of Dance, which is a new theatre show, and we're covering dance music from the late 70s through to the current time. So it's about 4.5 decades of bass tones that I've got to cover. So not only am I sort of trying to pick the right basses, trying to pick the right 4-string, there's going to be a 5-string, maybe even 2 5-strings in there, because there's so many different bass tones. There's some jazz single coil bass tones, there's Stingray in there, there's keyboard bass, heavily compressed bass, all sorts of stuff. So I'm now going to have a new pedal board. In my head, I've used the Pedal Train board planner, and I'll tell you what I think is going to be my new board setup. I haven't set it up yet. I haven't tested it. Next week is the week for doing that, and I'm going to film it, and it will be a video here on the channel. But let me tell you what's going to be on that board. Where is it? Here we go. Oh, don't tell me you've lost it. They've changed the app. Have you lost my board? I'll be really upset if you have, because I spent time doing that. They've lost my board. I'm gonna have to build that one again. Well, on the app, I know they updated the app not that long ago. Let's see if I can. What's that? No. Pish. This. Oh no, they've changed it so much. It hasn't held the old one. Well, that's good, isn't it? So anyway, I managed to work this board out. I got all the pedals I want on, and there were no gaps left. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it's going to be right. Tuner pedal. Oh, I don't know if I can do this. Tuner pedal, Digitech drop. There might have been a compressor, and in fact, there may have been 2 compressors, one after the drop and one towards the end before it hit the tone hammer. So with Uncle Funk's bands, I don't have any backline. We're on IEMs. So basically, it's going through the effects loop, and then it hits the tone hammer and goes out to the front of the house. So I'm not having to take an amp or speaker cabinets into the equation. So tuner, drop, compressor, EBS, octabass, but that could get changed for an MXR. In fact, no, I know the EBS ones come off. It's going to be the vintage bass octave, the small blue pedal next to the Digitech drop. Let me move my finger. It is that one there. That's on there. The poly blue octave by MXR is on there. Cool. Right now, after that is the Source Audio Aftershock. I think I've got the MXR bass fuzz on there as well, but again, that might come off. If the Aftershock can cover that might come off. Aguilar filter twin is going to be the Source Audio Spectrum filter. Then I think it's the Source Audio C4 synth pedal. And then I think I've got the Source Audio Gemini chorus. And after that, I had the MXR bass chorus deluxe, which has got the flanger. But now, since I drew that up, I've now got the Source Audio Mercury flanger. So that might be going on. I think there's also one more bass synth on there, but again, that will change once I start working out the sounds that I need to cover. A lot of these songs, especially the 90s songs, have got bass synths on, and they're really specific sounds. And when I've played them with just a bass and an octave pedal, it doesn't quite cut it. It's got to be that bass synth sound. So I may have 2 bass synth pedals on this. And I think, what was the last thing? There may be a phaser on there, I think. And actually, I need to give this a try as well. So this came a couple of weeks ago, the Boss Dynamic wire, bringing that into the offerings. And then that'll go possibly with another compressor at the end. I don't know. That'll go into tone hammer and out the front. So that's my board. Sorry, it was a long, convoluted answer. Sorry, Liam. But like I say, I'm going to be piecing that together because our next big rehearsal for that theatre show is not this weekend, the following weekend, next Sunday. And so this time next week, I'll be fully ensconced in doing that. So next week's live chat could well be, here's the state of play with the new pedal board. Maybe give you all a bit of a demo, play a few bits of the various songs so you can hear how I'm thinking. I need that for that sound and that for that sound, and that's what I'm using to get that and that. And there's going to be lots of pedal combinations going on. So we'll see. It's going to be a funny old time because not only have we learned the songs and I'm trying to keep that going in my head at the moment, it's got to decide which basses I'm going to use. I don't want lots of changeovers, but I could well need 2 4s and possibly 2 5s. I don't know. There's a lot of single coil jazz bass sounds. There's a lot of Stingray sounds in this stuff. And then the 5 strings are different. And 2 of my 5 strings were instantly, they're not going to fit this. So at the moment, I'm looking at, it's probably going to be the GB Rumor 5 and the Stingray 5 with the graphite neck. But that might get swapped back for the Lakeland or Skyline. I don't know. But the Dingwall, I had to sort of, that couldn't do it. It was far too far too modern sounding. That's one of the good things about it, but it didn't sit in the mix. It was a bit too guttural for some of this. So yeah, so there we go. Right, Manfred Oliveris trying to set up a GK Fusion 800S. Nice amp, lots of options with a 5-string Fender American. Cool, very good. What sort of tones are you trying to get? What are you looking to do? You might need to consider what strings you're using. Liam, I wish I got the vintage bass octave. I have the older Octave Deluxe. Okay, if you're going to get the vintage bass octave, there's the small one, which is a smaller footprint on your pedal board. There's the bigger version, same color, but they don't sound the same. They should, but they don't. So my preference, and I've told this story millions of times over the past couple of weeks. A friend of mine back in 2019 had a load of octave pedals, couldn't decide which one he liked, which one got the sounds he wanted. I went round there with a bunch that I've got, the ones he had. We lined them all up, played a bunch of basses through them. And at the end, that pedal won, in our opinion. It left everything else kind of standing. It was for the sounds it gets and for what my mate was looking for. That was the pedal that won out. Don't take my word for it. Go to a bass store, guitar store, check out that pedal, plug it in, have a go. But it's a cracker. So there we go. To be honest, I still don't even get the hype behind octave pedals on bass that much, even after owning one for a long time. I do, because I used to play in a 3-piece covers band, a 4-piece band, and an octave pedal will give your bass line weight. If you start having to move up the register, if your guitar player is doing something and the actual original bass line moves up, if you chuck that octave pedal on, you don't lose your bottom end, and the actual frequency fill for your band maintains a constant. If you've got multiple guitar players in your band, like 2 guitar players, you might not need an octave pedal. But if you've got one guitar pedal and he goes for a solo and your bass line needs to go up, if that's what the original bass line is, you can kick that octave in and it will cover what you're doing. Also, if your preference is for 4-string basses, if you've got an octave pedal, you don't really necessarily need a 5. And it gets you out of that. I've done many a gig where the bass player I was depping for used a 5, and I was just thinking I haven't got time to sit and familiarize myself with a 5 because I use 4s most of the time. I can use an octave pedal, and it'll do what I need it to do. So, Liam, I don't know if you can or want to play keys. No, I don't. I'm 52 and I'm not looking to learn new tricks. I'm quite happy with what I know. And it's like I don't do double bass. I've probably lost in my career maybe 10 gigs because I didn't play double bass. In recent times, that's probably increased. Actually, it's more than 10 now. On a couple of the WhatsApp bass groups, depping groups, lots of the gigs that get offered on there need you to play electric and double bass. I can't apply for them. I don't play double bass. But I just thought, Bill Clements, good to see you. Welcome. I kind of made a decision a while back that I've got enough going on with the YouTube channel, the gigs I do, life in general. I don't want to be finding myself having to learn new stuff that could take a lot of time before I become really good at it. It's like learning theory and learning to read. There's no point me really learning to read now as a bass player. My career's going in a certain direction, and I'm quite happy with it like that. I don't want to spend 10 years learning how to read, and I might only have another 5 to 10 years of being a musician anyway. So I'd rather enjoy the gigs I do what I do what I do on the YouTube channel, and I'm happy with that. I'm quite okay with that. Don't know if you want to play keys, but if you get a MIDI controller keyboard, then you can use VSTs on a laptop to load the sounds for those synth-based songs. I could. That's not going to happen in 5 weeks, unfortunately, Liam. I'm going to go with the basses I've got, the pedals I've got. I'm very hands-on, so I like having pedals, which again, why I don't use like a Helix stomp or anything like that. I like having pedals, and if it doesn't sound right, I can just change it manually. That works for me. I'm quite happy with that. Patrick Sweeney, any Jamiroquai? Yes, we're doing Cosmic Girl and we're doing Canned Heat. And once the theatre show progresses, there's a possibility 1 or 2 of those might go and something else from the Jamiroquai canon might come in to replace it. So we'll see. But those are actually really lovely songs to play as a band, as opposed to a lot of the dance stuff that is very electronic. Don't worry about me. Worry about the guitar player. He's had to come up with parts that don't even exist. So yeah. Manfred Oliveros, any good Line 6 HX Stomp presets for download somewhere? There probably are. I would imagine you need to go on their forums and there'll be a load of stuff. I don't use a Helix Stomp. I'm a manual pedals guy. I did review one. I did have one here for demo back in 2020. Loved it. I think it's great. But again, if something doesn't sound right in the middle of a gig, I haven't got the time, patience, or wherewithal to sit and scroll through presets and parameters. I like to get hands-on with the controls and make it sound how I want it to sound. Patrick, we play Canned Heat and Virtual Insanity. Very good. Canned Heat's a lovely line, but I was reading up on it, and actually a lot of it is pre-programmed keyboard bass. Toby Smith did it, the guy that died. So even though Nick Pfeiffer joined, that actual song, a lot of it's keyboard based, but some lovely sounds and tones on that are like octaved synth, bass synth slapped. A very percussive thing. They really got the sounds on that album. Liam, I don't like using multi-effect stuff either. Yeah, I'm not a big fan. Individual pedals always have better sounds to my ears. And actually doing the channel and now doing Uncle Funk, it's made me buy a load more pedals for content here on the channel, of course. And I can integrate stuff into the Uncle Funk stuff. So it's all good. It's all good. Learning new tricks. He says after saying he didn't really want to have to learn new stuff, but there we go. Learn to play keyboards. I tried that about 14 years ago and I started and it was going quite well. I was having lessons. And then there just wasn't time to practice. I was so busy at that time. Joe Goose, good to see you. How you doing? Rocking in the free world, I hope. And I had to bang the piano lessons on the head. I just did not have time to practice between each lesson. And actually, my teacher, who was a friend, who we walked our dogs together, she said, if you're not going to practice, there's no point. She said, I shouldn't even have to tell you this as a musician. I said, I know. I said, but life is just way too busy and I just don't have the time. There's no point me paying you £30 an hour to teach me if I'm not going to do the practice. So let's just mothball it for now. I've still got the books here. I might get round to it or I might not. It's not like I'm going to turn my back on being a professional bass player and become a professional keyboard player. I'm a bit late in the day for that. It would just be for enjoyment purposes, of course. How we doing, Bill? Hope you're well. Joe Geezer, you spoke to Stu on X last week. Stu. Zender, very good. How was he? What's he up to? I don't even know what he's up to these days. Last time I saw him was 2016 at the Warwick base camp. And he said, oh, I know you are. I said, oh, that's good. I said, well, I know you are too. I said, you're on my list to do an interview. I said, but sadly, I'm getting on a plane at 6 o'clock in the morning and you've literally just landed and appeared here at 8 o'clock. So we're not going to get an interview done, are we? He went, nah. I said, good. Can I get in touch with you when we get back to London and we'll sort something out? Yeah. Here we are 8 years later and it never happened, sadly. Would have been good. Would have been good. I had plenty of plum questions for him, that's for sure. So what have you been up to, Joe Goose? Did Bernie get back in touch? Have you placed your order for your GB? Yeah, I think he's just playing in a few different projects. He doesn't really post much about music, more politics. I think he got a bit burned with the whole Jamiroquai thing. Although that is a long time ago now. 25 years ago. But yeah. Seemed like a nice guy when I met him. I know he has quite a I think stressful life, I guess. But the boy can play. He can still play. Stewart came to a couple of Sims bass days. Okay, interesting guy, surprisingly short. Hey. Some of my favorite drum can't get my teeth in today. Some of my favorite drummers are surprisingly short. Joe Goose, yeah, I really don't like their current bassist. He doesn't seem to have any soul in his play. Paul Turner. Session Supremo Paul Turner, no less. It's funny. I've had because we're doing a couple of Jamiroquai things in the Decades of Dance. I've done a playlist on my phone, my favorite Jamiroquai tracks, and it's amazing when you listen back to that first album, and then any band's going to change between their first album and like their 7th or 8th album, but the whole dynamic of that band radically different. And the whole, I mean, you could probably say the one constant is A, always an excellent drummer, and B, always an excellent bass player. The bass is the constant, always inventive, always really well thought out, played lines. But for that material, it has to be. It couldn't be dull and boring. It wouldn't work. But I still think, I put my neck on the block. I still think the best bass line is Don't Give Hate a Chance by Derek McIntyre. Mackenzie's the drummer. Let's get the two surnames around the wrong way. Yeah, Don't Give Hate a Chance. Beast of a bass line. Absolute beast of a bass line. Joe Goose, yeah, not a fan of Paul's at all. He's probably a lovely bloke. Yeah. I've seen him get narky though. He's not nice when he's narky. Typical Sunderland guy. Don't get on his wrong side, but I can't get on with his playing at all. Okay, that's all right. Each to their own. He does some nice stuff. I guess he's always going to be under that shadow. You know, any bass player that came after Stu's Ender was always going to face the flak. And I know I saw an interview with Paul not so long ago. It came up in my feed. Is it with Scott? Might have been with Scott, or it might have been with someone else. And he was saying he really faced the wrath of Jamiroquai's fans when he joined. Here they were, third bass player in, you know, on the touring band. And he got pelted with stones, gravel. He didn't like it. He didn't take kindly to it. But, you know, that's what these bands are like sometimes. They have ferocious fans. And when an original member goes, the replacement doesn't get naturally accepted. You have to sort of win them over. Stewart has a project that sounds exactly like the first two Jamiroquai albums, but Jamiroquai these days sound like a function band because the players are session safe players. It's a one-man band. He calls the shots. It's his name on the contract. It's like Bon Jovi. It's no different. Patrick Sweeney, I like Paul's playing, but it is personal preference, as you say. Big boots to fill. Well, that was it, you know, for 3 albums. And yeah, I remember when it happened. I remember it was quite a seismic thing. You know, suddenly this band lost their bass player, and I didn't know how to apply. I wouldn't have been right for it. I wasn't into the drugs thing, so you know, wouldn't have worked for me. I'd have stood out like a sore thumb. I've never crossed paths with Mr. K either. He lives not that far from here. But I've never crossed his path. I know a few people who have, but yeah. Stu's playing was so good that I'm still trying to work out how he came up with those lines. I think there was a lot to do with drugs, mate. That's what you know, they were coming out of a particular musical place. So early 90s, they were the complete opposite to grunge and everything else that was going on. And their influences, you know, there was a lot of Weather Report in there, Miles Davis, a lot of jazz stuff, acid jazz, acid skiffle, of course, bluegrass punk, one of my favorites. And yeah, you know. JK was from Ealing. Yes, he used to sell drugs outside Ealing Broadway Tube. My mate used to do karaoke in the bar opposite. And he said that kid was always there. Jamiroquai doing a new album at the moment. Sounds about right. Probably due one. Last time I saw Paul Turner was, oh my goodness, end of 2016, just before Automaton came out, which I think was 2017. Am I right? Joe Geezer, there was a lot of acid jazz bands in the 90s. They were also very good bands. Yes, there were. I was a big fan of Mother Earth. Really good band. Their bass player, Neil Corcoran, is on Facebook. We exchange messages. Very good. If you've never checked them out, do. They're really good band. He was all over a Stingray, and I think it's a Warwick Fortress. I think he had. I teched for him actually at Roehampton Institute in 1994. It was the summer before I turned pro, and the band I joined, the Sugar Plums, the glam rock tribute, were there, and the guys that were running that summer ball for Roehampton Institute were the 2 guitarists in the glam rock band, and they needed hands on deck, so I earned a few bob teching that day. And Mother Earth were one of the bands, and I watched them. I was like, "Whoa, I like this lot." I think I went to see him a couple of times in London. Yeah, love Mother Earth. Did he play G&L basses? Quite possibly. He's a big Stingray fan. If you go on his Facebook, his Instagram now, He's got a couple of jazzes, a couple of stingrays, and he still plays like an absolute demon. Always like Incognito, yeah. We were on the bill with them a couple of months back, Uncle Funk, and I was having a chat with Francis Hilton. And I know next year we're on a couple of festivals with him, so I will nudge him beforehand, and we will hopefully arrange to have a beer and a natter. Might even do an interview for the channel. Maybe do it as a live chat, maybe. Oh no, that was Skunk and Nancy that play. You're thinking Cass Lewis. So he's a Stingray and a GNL guy. Randy Hope Taylor from Incognito sometimes play GNLs as well. You saw Mother Earth bassist playing with another acid jazz signed band called Emperor's New Clothes. Very possibly. Mother Earth kind of died around, I think, 96. I think. I've got 2 of their albums. I haven't got the first one. Got the People Tree and the one that came after that, which I think has got a purple and white cover. Now, there's a story. I bought that, the one with the purple and white cover. I've never played it. It's in my CD rack. I've never played that album. I don't know why. It's probably I bought a bunch of CDs on a day, probably like 6 CDs, and it was one of the 6, and I've never listened to the thing. There's a job for this week. Stick that in the car when you're driving to Saturday's gig up in Bourne. I can listen to that. Neil Corcoran, I'm coming your way. Corduroy, yeah, I remember Corduroy. They were great. They were really good. And actually, James Taylor Quartet was around that time as well. Yeah, there were some great bands, early 90s, but you had to go and find them. You weren't going to see a lot of these on Top of the Pops. You had to get your backside out and go and see the gigs. See, I was a big Freak Power fan. Even before they had the big hit, I was going to see them. So that was the band before Norman Cook became Fatboy Slim. And he was playing guitar in that. That's how I met Dale Davis. So who became Amy Winehouse's bass player. He was the bass player in Freak Power originally. Joe, my brother did a workshop with Snowboy in Basildon. I don't know who that is. Yeah, love Freak Power. Warwick bassist. Well, originally Dale Davis was the bass player. So he had vintage 60s. No, early 70s jazz bass. The bass player with Freak Power you're thinking of was a young guy who replaced Dale when Dale left, called Jesse Graham. Young black guy. He had a black Warwick Streamer Stage 1. And yeah, he was a good player. He did all the gigs that I saw after Dale left. I think he had a black Streamer back. Joe, you see, there we go. You see, Patrick Sweeney. I believe JTQ are still going. They are. Andrew McKinney is the bass player. Andrew was one of the lecturers at ICMP, I think, and he was also one of the original writers for Bass Guitar magazine as well. And I think he got so busy with John Taylor, James Taylor Quartet that he packed the mag writing in because we weren't paying him enough. I occasionally bump into him. I last saw him at Young Gun Silver Fox's gig at Nell's in November 2019. I used to have his phone number, but we never kind of, I wouldn't say we didn't get on, but we were never cliquey enough to sort of give each other gigs. I did put some dep gigs his way a few times, but I don't think he was able to do them. So you saw him on the Word. Yeah. I used to go and see Freak Power all the time. I saw him at first would have been the Borderline, and then I saw them Jazz Cafe. Then I saw them at the Astoria. I saw them again after that, and it was before they went off to record what became the second album, and I didn't see any gigs after that. I think whenever they were gigging in London, I was gigging with the glam rock band, so couldn't go to the gigs, unfortunately. Let's see if we've got any more people trying to join the live chat. Check the emails. Your partner's sister slept with Stu Zender. Okay. Andrew Levy and frontman of Galliano. She well. Okay. I don't really know how to reply to that, Joe. She clearly liked a bass player or two. Well, two, judging by that list. She worked for EMI. Okay. Well, there you go. As Stewart used to wear the T-shirt from the Bass Centre, bass players do it deeper, apparently. So I'm told. Yeah. So what's going on in the world of Joe Goose? You haven't told me. Has Bernie been in touch regarding this GB rumor? Oh no, you want to buy a Spitfire, don't you? Okay. Has he been in touch? Have you placed your order? Patrick Sweeney, I thought bass players were bottom of the list. Never, mate. That's just a fallacy. Your partner and her sister are both on the front cover of a brand new Heavies album. Probably the first one, maybe on the back cover when they were still doing clubs, unless it's one of the more recent ones. Certainly not Brother Sister, or what's the one came after? The one that had Saida Garrett on. Both of them good albums. Oh, well, I'll tell you what, me waiting for you to reply. Let's do a quick look at brand new Heavies album discography. Probably the first one then, I would imagine. Oh, no, that's not. What the hell's that? There was a different cover for Brother Sister, which I'm seeing here. So it's probably that. Where Andrew Levy's got an orange shirt on. Maybe that was a single cover. I don't remember that being a single, though. Or the other one will be the very first. Oh, no, but that's not the very first, is it? There were a couple of albums. They might have been EPs, actually. Heavy Rhyme, maybe. You tell me, mate. Brother, sister, right? Okay, that was. See, there's a weird thing there because the UK album had the cover where it's just the 4 or 5 band members, but I'm not sure what that cover is. So I'm wondering if that's like a foreign cover for overseas. There's an album with lots of people wearing black leather. Brand new Heavy's Brother Sister. There's 2 covers. There you go. I think one was for US release. My partner is on the left of Andrew Levy. Oh, we're all checking this out now, aren't we? It's not particularly. Oh, right. Okay. The one kneeling down. So is her sister the one behind her or the one to her right? It's not the biggest picture, is it? Oh, there we go. Tell you, old Andrew Levy's got a fine pair of strides on there. I actually interviewed him. He was, let me get this right. He was, or was he? I think he was my very, very first interview for the mag once Joel took over. My very first interview for the mag was a personal friend called Jimmy from Warsaw. He had a band, and I interviewed him in 2009. But Andrew Levy was like the first name I interviewed, which was at London Bass Show 2013. And he was good. He was good. We had a good long chat. Her sister is the right of the drummer. Oh, right. Got it. What, right as we're looking at it, or right in the photo? Ah, right. I get it. I got it. At the back, right as we're looking at it. Got it. Right. Understood. What's wrong with those trousers? What's right with those trousers? Come on. I've seen sofas in that material. Come on. She didn't like this. Well, you see, clearly your partner's sister didn't like the cut of Andrew Levy's jib or his trousers. Clearly, her ex-husband bolted a few years ago. Joe, you're avoiding the question about the GB. A, has Bernie been back in touch? B, have you placed your order? The GB, yes. Here we go. The moment of truth. Now, I'm very hesitant to deal with him as it's all a bit flaky. Okay. I think he's probably, well, as I mentioned to you, he's a bit ill. He was told he was anemic by his doctor, although that was a couple of months ago. So I don't know what state he's in. I can imagine waiting years not hearing from him. Okay. Wait for a secondhand one. Although you might not get the spec that you were requiring. Can't say I've seen many in that finish and those LEDs. Usually, if people want a Mark King inspired one, they go for the Daphne Blue finish. You've already got the JD boys making me wait 4 years. Yeah, Bernie doesn't take that long, but if he's not getting back to you, then fair enough. Yeah, they are very rare. I can't say I've seen too many in that orange and green LED thing. And like I've said to you before, there used to be loads of them come up secondhand. GBs used to change hands a lot. And these days, you just don't see that many. I think people are keeping hold of them. I know I am. I mean, why wouldn't you want a Kingfisher blue with a maple board, a quilted maple top? Batteries in? No. LEDs aren't in at the moment. But anyway, there she be. A beaut. 20 years old. 20 years old. See, look after your gear, he says, but I haven't shown you the headstock. It's taken a right old battering over the years. I've only seen very old GBs on Reverb. Yeah, they'll be the old ones. Don't do that. Can you do a close up of the body? Happily. Actually, I haven't got people on video here. Take the headphones off. Yeah, I'll try and I'll move the microphone. I don't know what bits you want to see, so you need to tell me what you want to see. Quilted maple top. There you go. But it changes colour. People look at it and quite often it's looking kind of green. Sometimes it goes aqua, sometimes it goes blue. But if you put that on a stand in sunlight on a gig, it suddenly goes a whole different sort of colour and the green disappears. So, you know, Bernie calls it Kingfisher Blue. So that's what it is. And he knows, if you say to him, oh, I want a Kingfisher Blue bass, he knows exactly what it is because I'm the only one with one in that colour. Beautiful quilt. Is that a teal stain? No, it's, well, if I can, I've tried this before and it doesn't always work. So let me see if I can call up a picture on my PC and I'll show you what it was meant to be. So this was the base. I sent this picture and I printed it as well and sent this to Bernie and said, this is the base I want and that's the color I want. So let me see if I can present this to you. Something going on with StreamYard today where you click on things and it disappears. But I want to share the screen and I want it to be that. Right. Hopefully someone put in the message, can you see that? Can you see that bass? It's a Stowski. Yes, ma'am, thread, 3 strap pegs, similar to Statuses and headless basses with different bridges, 3 strap buttons. It was made for me, so I wanted 3 on there. Good. Richard Evans, good to see you. That was the bass color I wanted. When it got printed, actually, I'll show you another picture as well. So I gave Bernie both of these. Let me share that. What is going on with StreamYard today? Right. I gave him both of these pictures. I said to him, that's the color I want. So it's not blue, it's not green, it's kind of aqua teal kind of thing. And he went, yeah, that's what you'll get. And the first time I went to get it, after it had been sprayed, it was royal blue with gold hardware. And I'd asked for gold hardware, but royal blue, which is nothing like that. Not even close. And I said, that ain't what I asked for. I said, it looks very nice. It was more this color. This is royal blue. Although this is very dark. This has got black in it. But that's kind of royal blue. Yeah. That ain't the color of that Sadowski. And I said, at what point did you not get the message? I said, I gave you the printout. I've sent you the images. I said, even if your graphics card is knackered, you can tell that royal blue is not that color. He said, but it looks lovely, doesn't it? I said, yeah, it does. I said, but it's not what I want. So you can send that back to the spray shop. They can strip it and they can respray it. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, they didn't strip it too great. And you can't really see it on there. But around here, when you are actually looking at the bass, there's like a block that is bluer, like a darker shade than the rest of it. I don't care. It's my bass. No one else is getting it until I croak. So it is what it is. You know, it's like the bullet wound on the back, the knot in the wood. Only I don't care. It plays great, sounds great. I'm not going to kick up a fuss about it. But yeah, so he had to send it back to the respray shop and to spray shop, and they had to redo it. And that was the end of that. He said, you're a bloody difficult customer. I said, no, I'm not. I said, I asked you for that color. Do it. That's what I'm paying for. Jagiza, wow, that looks exactly like my old Sadowski. Well, maybe it was. You had black hardware on your Sadowski, though. That is. Oh, I see. Right. Blackbridge. Right. Understood. But that was the kind of color I wanted. And that's. Mine is kind of close, but mine is more green than that blue. But such is life, you know. Not to worry. Manfred, I lower the bass when playing with a pick. Yeah, same here. Joe, does he smoke dope? Not anymore, no. About 15 years ago, he got told he had to bang all of that on the head. Can't drink, can't smoke. But yeah, he's anemic when I last spoke to him. So I don't know currently what his situation is. I haven't spoken to him since late June, early July. I was asking him about the tape that he put on the bridge saddle screws to stop them unwinding when you play forcefully. And he went, "Oh, it's plumber's PLF tape, PLEF tape or something." Anyway, I've got some. You buy it from Screwfix, and that will be in one of my workshop videos in the next week or so when I set the white one up. So it needs new strings. Oh, God, there's a few things on this. New strings, screw in the bridge. I need to tighten up a couple of the controls and the LED control. It's got a little screw there. I've never got the screwdriver with me on the gig. New strings, lower the pickups a little. What's the other thing? There was something else. Can't remember. So it'll all get done all at the same time. I will sort it. And the bridge with the tape, of course. There's a bunch of basses need some little jobs done. PTFE tape. I knew you'd know, Richard Evans. Well done. Joe, there's a lot of Jamaican cigarette smokers in Brighton. Just a bit. PTFE tape. That's it. It cost about £4 a roll for a spool of it. So you take the saddle screw out, you wrap a bit around it, you put it back in the bridge saddle, it stays, it doesn't move. He did it on my Kingfisher Blue Roomer years and years ago, probably like 2005, and they've never moved since. So I need to do it on that one. It's a hip shot bridge, so yeah, apparently when you kind of get a bit stuck in, those saddle screws move, wind. And I did a gig in June, July, and I didn't realize I was playing as hard as I was, and suddenly the strings started bottoming out against the pickup, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? And when I looked at it, the screw had wound and the saddle had dropped mid-gig. Not the GB's fault, it's the bridge. Joe, yeah, I'm thinking now I might get a Zoot bass, okay? Instead, as I know that guy's on the ball, I follow him on Facebook. Go for it, mate. Why don't you have a custom-made say? Is that a possibility? There's lots of good British bass builders out there. Depends what you want in a bass. I thought you were after the GB because of the Mark King connotations, but if you're going for Zoot, that has no connotation with Mark whatsoever. Gareth Harrison, I use small dab clear nail polish. I've heard of that. Yeah. On my bridge screws to stop them moving. Yeah, that's a thing. I know you have a say bass on the way. I need to sell my say bass though. Ah, okay. I'm really not getting on with your say. Okay, need to get rid of it. Okay, fair enough. Sure, if you put it into the gallery, that'll shift fairly quick. It might as well go back to Martin, so the guy that made it. We're just coming up to 11 o'clock here. Live chat 81, coming to you all the way from London town, the UK. I've got a whole clutch of regulars here. Well done, boys. Let's see what the stream health is like. It says it's excellent. I can only assume it is then. Where are we? Oh, we've had a whole flurry of new subscribers. I think we've had 5 since the live chat started. So thank you very much. If you're one of the new subscribers and you're watching the live chat, good to see you. Welcome on board. Thanks for joining in. If you're just watching, that's cool. If you want to get involved, join in the live chat by video, you can. Send me an email, brooksysbasscorner@gmail.com. Let me put the banner up. Makes it far easier, doesn't it? And I can send you an invite and you can join in. Although it's getting a little late, so video interaction might be a bit restricted due to the noise I make. Joe, I have to say it privately as I don't want to offend them. I'm sure they won't be. If you're trading it in, we do it on a commission sale. I'll try first on Bass Chat and Gumtree before it goes on eBay. Or you could go to Bass Brothers, or you can go to Bass Direct, couldn't you? I don't think you'd offend them. They've got plenty of says in there that people have traded back to them to either do commission sales or to buy off them to resell. Could you not sell it to them and take it off the cost of the one that's being made? I'll sell it on eBay and Bass Brothers will buy it at a super low price. Yeah, like the Status Stealth. Hey. As we were talking about earlier, Gareth. I don't know if you've seen. Oh, I think I sent it to you, didn't I, Joe? The guy that's selling that Status Stealth that we were both watching on eBay last spring, that sold to Bass Brothers for like 1,900 quid. That they put a new set of strings on and sold it for 2,600, and then this guy's trying to sell it for 3,200. Yeah, the orange Stealth, yes, and it's not perfect either. It's got I think it's got some buckle rash, some scratches on it. So if you want it back to top standard, you've got to have it re-lacquered. So you're looking at over 1,000 quid. That's what puts people off. I know you were bidding on it, as I was too. And then it got to the point, it was like, nah. And I've got the 2000 and the Matrix and 2 Empathies, so it's enough. Although Stealth sounds really good, can't knock it. Gareth Harrison, I've just got a TC Polyclip tuner, and it's the best I've found so far for bass. Excellent. Good stuff. Thank you for that. Thank you for that little tip. We like that. Share your finds. Always good. I actually have a backdrop behind this this video window. Where's it gone? Here we go. Let's see if I can. Backgrounds aren't visible in solo layout. You can crop solo layout in settings. All right. So let me see if I can move that so you can. Oh, you can't. I can't show you it. I could just call up the image like I did with the bass, I guess. But anyway, some nice basses in that little row. Actually, while I was going through images, here we go. Let's see. Is this your bass, Joe, or your old bass? I want that, don't I? Right. Send share screen. Is this yours, Joe, or was it yours? Was that your one? Joe, yeah, I've owned an Empathy from around that era that had one the body middle would pop upwards. Must have not been glued correctly. It didn't affect the sound though. No, yours also had curly maple fretboard. Okay, fair enough. I tried. See what else I've got in here. Oh, yes. So, I think we've discussed this before, but we can discuss it again. This, I think, was the bass that Marcus at Bass Direct had built by Alembic. That he spent a lot of time and effort getting done, and then decided he wasn't going to buy it, and Bass Direct bought it. They finished off the payments and then sold it. So that was the one he had done, Series 2, based on Mark's old bass. Although with the smaller controls, it might not have been. I can't remember now. I haven't labelled it, it's just a number. Fine looking bass, I'm sure you'll agree. Medium scale. Lovely. A cracker. I did have a pic with Roger holding it. Roger. Oh, Sadowski, yeah. Got it. Let's see what else we've got in here. Little bass gems that I've saved over the years. Always thought that would look lovely. Got to click on it, Mike, so they can see it. Thoughts on this? That's a Warmouth body. Get a nice cherry sunburst over that. Great. Joe, that Alembic looks lovely in that quilted maple natural colour. It's just a clear lacquer gloss over the top. See, I always like this. Now, I'm not a huge Warwick fan. It's fine. But I love this design. If you can see this. I do like this. I think that's great. I'm a fan of that. Not necessarily a fan of Warwick's, but I love the finish. I think that's really fab. Although I could do without these sort of stained glass window gold trim parts and just leave it with the shapes. But anyway, I like it. Yeah, I like those Moo Wood status bases. Yeah, I want to get a stream of stage 1 again. Problem with Warwick's is you play one, they're great. You play another one, it's awful. And I've always had that experience with them. I've never found any consistency. And I'm very prone to, or I'm very aware, sorry, not prone, I'm very aware. A lot of the older ones have got serious truss rod issues. Snapping truss rods, twisted necks, and they're all getting older. If they haven't gone, they might. And you just don't want to end up with that repair bill. It's a bit like buying an old Fender and the neck suddenly go and do lally, and your investment's just gone all over the shop. Oh, you had a classic line. Oh, okay. I've never. The Brooksy is the first Warwick I've ever owned. Came close to owning a couple on eBay over the years. Always got gazumped like the last minute. Nearly ended up with a 4-string thumb for about 900 quid about 10 years ago. I got beaten by about 80 quid. You want to get an earlier one though, not a famous owned one yet. See what else I can find here in Brooksy's collection of bass pictures. Now, I did use this actually. This used to be part of the thumbnail for live chats a while ago. Let's try and share that. What is going on with these menus today on StreamYard? Just stay on the screen. We want to go to that. There we go. There. Enfield. Cannon, that will be. That was one of the first ones. The first sort of round of basses that Martin put out. With Super 8 pickup. Forerunner to the Sim Super Quads. It was all in one unit. Lovely looking bass that. I think I may have seen it down at his workshop once. A belter. Yeah, the forerunner to the Super Quads. My suggestion, I did say to him, if you want to earn a few money, you got to find a way to split that pickup into 2 separate units and sell them as a retrofit. No, they want that pickup. They want what that pickup does. They've got to buy it in that design on that bass. We're not doing aftermarket sales or any of that. Fast forward about 5 years, go to the bass show, and what's he got? Sim Super Quads. It's that pickup, isn't it? Splitting the two. Oh, are they retrofit? Are they? Oh, wonder who suggested that. I said, if you can find a way to split that pickup into 2 separate units and make it work, I said, you are onto something. I think his big concern was that another company, probably from China, would look at it and do their own version of it, and then it would just completely wreck the market for him. But as far as I'm aware, I don't think anyone else has done it since. Maybe they've looked at it and just gone, it's not cost effective to do it. Kev Allen, good to see you. Sorry I'm late, just in from a concert. That's all right. In answer to the question of who inspired me to first pick up a bass, Nick Potter, Van de Graaff Generator. Whoa, rest in peace. Les Claypool, Bootsy Collins, fabulous. Richard Evans, Enfield, where I went to school. Yeah, they're based in Ashford in Kent. But the Enfield and the Cannon are all family related. Something to do with Martin's dad, as I recall. Add one to the list. Well, you have to buy one secondhand because they don't make them anymore. Bill Clements still got my original Lakeland. Never selling that one. Very good. Quite right too. Let's see what else I can find in Brooksy's. Oh, here we have an older Empathy. Probably from the original run because the controls are on the small side. So see what you think of this. Oh, that's no use. Picture's too small. Go for that one. That's better. That's a bit better. See if you can see that. It's not going to be particularly big, sadly, but give you an idea. Actually, that's a funny looking bass, actually, because that's got the older style controls on it, but it's got monorail bridges. I suspect that's an early 2000 Series 2 classic, if I might be so bold. I hadn't noticed that before. So look, what else we got in here? Got some funky guitar finishes that I've kept for reference. The Dingwall, I think, was an AB1 Whirlpool finish. I was this close to buying it. I was at Bass Direct doing a bass review day, and this was on the wall. I said, I need to start doing a bit more investigation on these Dingwalls. Then, we got this great AB1 up here. And as soon as I showed a bit of interest in buying it, they went, oh no, sorry, it's already sold. It's like, when were you going to tell me that, when I was paying for it at the till? But not to worry. I scratched that itch with the NG2, but look at the finish. Look at that. I was very close. I was literally reaching for my wallet and they went, oh no, sorry, someone's put a deposit on it today. It was secondhand. Some guy from Denmark was buying it. Otherwise, it would have been coming back to Brooks Towers. Played great, sounded great. Wangy fingerboard. Really nice bass. Lovely flame maple top there. Can't have them all. Lord knows I try. Here's one for you, Joe Goose. I think that's Moodwood, I think. Or it might be a spalted maple. Hold on. Eyes are getting tired. I've been at it. Here you go. Let's see what you think of this. I think it's a spalted, but I remember it was someone had it made. It might be Moodwood. I could be wrong. Oh, I know what the big deal about it is. It's got maple phenolic. So a maple inspired phenolic board. There we go. I think it was the first one they did. Mid 2000s, I think. On a spalted maple top, yeah. What do you think of that? Joe Geezer, thank you, Joe Goose, super chat. Thank you for the super chat donation. Very much appreciated. Bless you. Thank you. We will eat this week, dear. We'll eat this week. Yes. Bill Clements on bass. I like the original Lakelands when they were handmade in the USA by the original owner. Agreed. Jaggeries, yeah, I never liked those monorail bridges on headed stator. No. No, I don't have any on mine, thankfully. Kev Allen, still have my original Aria Pro 2 5-string. Well, okay, nothing special, but she was my first. Regret selling every bass I've ever sold. No, the only one I really regret is the Mark King Stingray. But there was nothing special about it. It was just a really good playing Stingray. And I kind of now regret selling the Seafoam Green tea bass that I had. Yes, I can. Yes, I can, Joe Goose. I will. Joe, the lovely Joe Goose here, has a bass lesson channel on X, Twitter X. So if you want to check it out, what's the link, Joe? Give me the link. I can plug your bass lessons, of course. Patrick Sweeney, Enfield Lionheart Custom Shop in Flip Blue is the one I've got. Get you. Yes, you have. With the LEDs, I think. Joe, yeah, love that Moodwood bass, but I don't like the fretboard. See, I do like the fret. I like a maple fretboard. There's Joe's bass lessons on X. If you want to check out his channel there, Jazz Funk Bass. Scroll down and you'll find the lessons. Thank you for the super chat, Joe. Very much appreciated. Okay, let's see what other gems I've got, other nuggets. That might be it in that directory. Oh no, I tell a lie. firing. Here we go. Custom Kubicki finish without the extender, so 34-inch scale. We need to go there, and we need to go there. Oh, hello. What is going on with these menus tonight? Okay. There. Don't see many in that finish. The custom graphic. Gareth Harrison, guilty pleasure bass lines. I Could Be So Good For You. Dennis Wharton, played by the lovely Mo Foster. I've got another couple of those, actually, those Kubickis. No, that's a black one. That isn't. Along similar lines. Yeah, it did exist, apparently. I did have an image. I'm trying to remember where I put it. There's another one. Fender Custom Shop, this one. They did a whole bunch of graphic finishes, usually at Fender. Who knows where these basses are now? I have absolutely no idea. Definitely collector's pieces though. One-offs, a bit like the John Taylor Big Thing graphic. And then there's this, which is very rare. There's a guy called John in the States has most of these. Cute. I've shared this before on my social media, but it was a prototype. Kubicki, undated, unnumbered, believed to be a Fender era prototype with humbuckers and different electronics. Definitely a unique one. Okay, let's go into that status directory. Nothing there that we haven't really seen before. Oh, here we go. Custard Colin. For those who don't know, I used to own this. But it didn't sound as good as the 2000 I kept, Stu Clayton's one. So this was Custard Colin, one of the solid colour Series 2s made for Mark King. He sent a whole load of them around about 86, 87. Obviously, the red one was used on the insert for running in the family, but he had basses in multiple colours, and he picked and chose which ones to use when he felt like it. Great sounding bass, but it just wasn't as powerful as the one I've got. So it got sold on, got moved on. GMT pickups on it as well. Bill Clements, Dan himself oversaw the build. We're talking about your Lakeland. Used it on some recent shorts. If you want to see it, yeah, send some links to the chat. Oh, you can't do that, can you? Send me the links by email, Bill, and I'll check it out. Gareth Harrison, I use a Hipshot D-tune and feel the extender on a Kubicki bass would confuse me now. No, it wouldn't. It's so intuitive, really. And flipping it on, flipping it off. It's I actually find a hip shot confuses me more than using the Kabiki. I've got a hip shot on the GB Rumour down there. Joe Goose, Vale Johnson was the Kabiki player. No, I think you'll find John Taylor was the man that sold more Kabikis than anyone else on the planet. But Vale Johnson's great. Don't necessarily agree with his political views, but as a player, he's great. I've got to say, Vale's playing Kenny G was amazing. There's some great YouTube vids. Yeah, I bought the VHS, the Midnight Motion thing from that Marina gig. I think around about 89, I think it's from. And he's playing on that. I already had my Kabiki before I knew about him. And I remember seeing that going, well, I need to pull my socks up. But the thing is, it's like, again, I could have sat and studied that for hours and hours and hours and hours and got it all down and got it down and got it, and then never used it. I've never used that level of playing ever. I look back now, what was that? I saw that in 1992. So 32 years ago. And I can honestly say, if I'd learned to play that note, I'd never have used it. Okay, it would have taught me the techniques and his facility to play slap like that. But I don't think I'd ever have used it, really, in my career. I just couldn't say. I mean, there's a multitude of players I know who are extremely technical, who play in similar circles to what I do. And in terms of technicality, I can't match them, but they're not always that busy. And, you then have to begin to ask yourself, I've learned all this stuff, but do I actually ever use it? No, but there we go. But having said that, there's no harm ever in learning something, because you never know where that technique or having that ability to do it will take you somewhere else along the bass playing path. I never rated John Taylor, but the best Bond soundtrack was A View to a Kill. Stick Rio on, Joe. and also find, if you can, you'll find it on YouTube, Live at Hammersmith 82. And you also want As the Lights Go Down from 84. And while you're watching that as well, dig out on YouTube Sing Blue Silver, which is the tour documentary from the 84 American and Canadian tour. That might impress you. Gareth Harrison. For me, the most notable Kabiki player was Stu Hann. Sure. I think John Taylor was the visible face of Kabikis. And I remember Phil, and actually Carlo said to me before, he said the moment he played one on Saturday Night Live in February or March 85, their phone rang off the hook the next day. People trying to buy their bass. Bill Clements had some great interactions with Vale at NAMM. Great dude. As I say, great player. I just don't necessarily subscribe to his political leanings, but I don't have to. I can just appreciate him being a great player. Joe, yeah, I haven't really listened to much Duran Duran. Never thought of them as a bassist band. Need to do yourself a favour, Joe. First 3 albums. Power Station probably ain't gonna boil your egg. Notorious, great bass album. Check it out, man. Come on, pull your socks up. Where have you been? Rio will. The first 2 albums of bass playing will get you. Just tonally. Come on, come on. You can do it, Joe. Mm-hmm. Okay. Sorry, I've got my camera here and the view windows there. I can't see what's on the screen there. Here we are. Yeah, I like Vale. Didn't really hear much on his political views, but I imagine him to be a man's man, so would expect him to have quite grown-up views. It's not so much that; it's the ramming it home aspect. It's like I'm right and everyone else is wrong. It's like I don't care. I just appreciate you as a bass player. I don't care that you want people to vote for this guy or that guy or whatever. Keep your politics to yourself. I'm not interested. So probably quite a no bullshit kind of bloke. Well, he's from Sweden, so he's not going to tolerate, nonsense. I want musicians to be musicians. I don't care about your political views. I don't need you to use your ability as a soapbox for conveying what you want people to do. Yeah, I stay out of the political discussion arena. Yeah, it's all a waste of time. Correct. Right, gang. 11:30 here in London town. I'm probably going to wrap this up in the next 5 minutes or so. If you've got anything else you want to add to the live chat, any questions, let me know. We've got no one else for the live for the video chat, so it's fine. Something's just appeared from the Uncle Funk camp for the new show. Dogs, fair enough. Right, that's fair enough. I'll check that in a minute. Joe Goose, and you basically alienate 50% of your audience. Generally, Patrick Sweeney, at the time we were all listening to Mark King, so didn't get much of a look in amongst bass purists, and I was one at the time. But his bass lines are perfect for their songs. We're talking about John Taylor here. Yeah, again, have a listen to the first two albums. First Duran Duran, then Rio. Seven and a Ragged Tiger is a progression of Rio, but it's not as in your face as Rio. And Notorious is a different beast entirely, but you've got Noel Rodgers behind the desk, so you can always trust in him to know what's going on at the bass end. And actually, one of the best John Taylor bass lines, So Misled, is on that album. Very funky, very full on. And actually, one of my favourite songs is the last track in the album called Proposition, which is really Kubicki Factor with the low D in use, and it's great. Love it. Love it. There's some good bass stuff on Notorious. Big Thing, big change. Liberty is more kind of dance floor, kind of. It's a hard one. There's a lot of technical stuff going on, like in terms of technology going on Liberty. It wasn't one of their better albums, but I like the bass stuff on there. There's some really good songs on there as well. Wedding Album was the progression of Liberty, but possibly better songs on there. There's a few things on there, and I don't really care for all the Lou Reed cobblers. I don't want you doing Lou Reed covers. I'm not interested in that. Thank You, album cover versions, probably one or two good tracks on there. Then it all goes a bit insipid. Astronaut is a return of form. So really good bass stuff on there. Some bit play with Bernard Edwards Stingray, of course. Yeah. Patrick Sweeney, Rio I Play, great syncopation. The whole album's good. And actually, take John Taylor out of the equation. Listen to the Arcadia album. Mark Egan, fretless jazz player. Not fretless jazz bass, but a jazz player playing fretless on a Pedula. Seriously good bass playing on that album. Very atmospheric. Kind of Japan-like, but with better songs, in my view. But I'm not a huge Japan fan, but there we go. Manfred, goodbye. Some stuff to do. Nice talking to you. Thank you for attending the live chat. You're welcome anytime. Kevin Allen, I love it when bass players produce. Hell, you can tell. Brooksy was impressed by Asterism and decided to just fly over and produce a few tracks for them. Cool. Okay. Richard Evans, Alice Cooper said, but when musicians are telling people who to vote for, I think that's an abuse of power. You're telling your fans not to think for themselves, just to think like you. Yeah. Bill Clements on bass sent the link. Excellent. I'll check that out once we're off the live chat, Bill. Okie dokes. I think we're kind of ready to wrap up, I think. I think we are. Okay. On that number. What are we talking about? Blethering. Ramblings of a madman. I'm going to call it an evening. Joe, good to see you. Patrick, good to see you. Kevin Allen, Manfred, Richard Evans, Bill Clements. It's all going into a flurry, isn't it? All of you have a fabulous week. Thank you, Joe, for the super chat payment. Very much appreciated. All you fine, lovely people, thank you for getting involved tonight. To new subscribers, thank you very much. Welcome on board. New video tomorrow. Flattley, Poison Ivy, Bass Fuzz, pedals over there. That will be up tomorrow. A couple of bass demos and reviews later in the week. I'll see you next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Same time, same place. Enjoy your week. Enjoy your bass playing. Thank you for all the likes, the comments, the shares, the new subscribers on the channel. Can't do it without you guys, so thank you very much. Merch and affiliate links are in the description box below. If you're watching after the event, thank you for watching. And feel free to leave comments. You can still get involved in the conversation. I'll come back to you and YouTube alerts me and notifies me that you've left a message. On that note, thank you very much to everyone for this evening. It's been a blast. I can't believe we've done 3 hours and nearly 40 minutes, but thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure. So we'll do it all again next week. Take care of yourselves, guys and girls, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Keep checking back on the channel for new videos. There'll be, like I say, some reviews and demos going up. There'll be some shorts as well, and the usual stuff on the social media. So take it easy. See you next week. Have a great week. Take care.